Okay, good evening, everybody. The date is May 19th, 2025, and the time is 6:15 p.m. I hereby call to order the workshop of the City of Council of the City of Groveland, Florida. Jenny, could you please take the roll?
Mayor Keith Kehoe.
Here.
Vice Mayor Barbara Gaines.
Here.
Councilmember Amy Jo Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Judith Fike.
Here.
Councilmember Mike Radzik.
Here.
City Manager Mike Hine. City Attorney Anita Gerasi Carver. Here. Sergeant at Arms Chief Sean Ramsey. Here. City Clerk Virginia Wright here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Let's proceed on. Jennifer, we want to take it over?
Sure. Hi, Council. Good evening. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council. Thank you for being here with me today. I am excited to give you an overview of the past fiscal year and a little bit more of Groveland Communications, the city's department. I'm Jen Klutz, Communications Director, and we will be going over maybe. IT, if I can get some help. Thank you. Okay. Here's a little overview. We'll be talking about the team and then go straight to budget. And then after that, we'll be talking about what is communications, what are we doing, and then maybe talk about some of your expectations of communications looking ahead and some of your thoughts on the presentation. All right, so the team, we have myself, Communications Director. I put a little tangent in there as Public Information Officer. I also serve the city in a PIO capacity, which is a more hands-on role, 24/7, nights, weekends type, where I'm on call. And then I have a communications coordinator that helps me with all of the content that we produce, scheduling, things like that. So it's our mighty team. I wanted to include on here partners because of our team being two, we have a lot that we rely on with other departments to get the information to us to get out to the residents. So we work very closely with you yourself, other boards, the clerk's office, residents that reach out and share information and requests with us, transportation and public works, police and fire very closely, IT, HR, finance, community development, parks. We work with all of them. Every department we have a hand in sharing their information and what they do with the city and advising on certain issues and topics. And now we'll go to budget.
Good evening. So as you can see, the communications department is a relatively new department. It was created in FY 2024, so there was no activity in 2023. For FY 2024, you can see your total activity was $313,584. For the current year, your budget is $446,100. Of that for personnel services is $240,400, and operating expenses of $205,700. Year to date, you've spent a total of $176,554. The FY 26 proposed budget is $356,700. That shows no increase in operating expenses and an $89,400 decrease in personnel services, which is the elimination of one position while still accounting for a 10% estimated increase in benefits. Jen?
All right, now we'll get into a little bit of the specifics on what we do. So first I'll start with online and digital media, which might be most prominent in today's society and life. That includes all of our social media channels. On Facebook, we have 3 pages on Facebook. We have 2 pages on Instagram. Just launched a Nextdoor, working on the campaign to get that word out to the residents and make sure they know that we're on there and they can join, and that's a new place that they can get information. X, we have a public safety account. Photo and videos included in this, our e-newsletters, any emails, presentations, designing graphics, texting. I put a little coming soon in there because we have that budgeted for next year, and website that is in progress as we speak. Also being budgeted for some this year, some next year. I'll talk a little bit more about that later as it'll be a process moving forward. So some examples of social media. I've got Bridget on there, our communications coordinator. She's out and about with the different departments. She meets with all of the departments every week. or on a biweekly basis. All the notices you see are from her. She works on editing some short form video for us, reels, creating graphics, and working with other city departments and like Ashley on different Facebook posts. And she's really our rock star when it comes to social media. And so as you can see, we have all kinds of different posts, things going on in the community, evergreen things like Earth Day and staff, trainings, informational videos, informational graphics, and public notices. Some metrics, we right now average about 33 social posts a week, so that's across all platforms. I would say that is a rather high number for social media. This average, the breakdown you see on there is from October 2024 until now. So we've got about 3 million views out of that, so 3 million eyes that have been on our page, on our post during that time. As you can see, compared to the year before, we've increased our reach by quite a bunch, 171%. Our video views have increased 82%. Content interactions up 120%. And people are more engaged. They're watching, they're staying on posts longer, and they're not leaving the post as quick, and they're commenting on it, and they're engaging with it. And it's broken down there by reach and organic, which means something we post on our own, and it's not a paid post. And then you've got ads on there. So ads include events that we're pushing, that we want people to see more of. So we pay for Facebook and Meta to push those posts. Just some more. Out of 200 pieces of content, these are some numbers on the amount that were photos. So out of 200, 143 were photos, 47 posts were stories, 25 of them were just text, things like that. And reach put into that. So posts that include links reach a lot more people. People are sharing it. The ones that have multi-photos are shared a lot more. And photos in general are just always shared a lot more than a post that's just static with no photo or video. Now I'll move on to our e-newsletters. We currently have 3 newsletters that we're sending out. We've got an internal newsletter, we've got the Groveland newsletter, and then the mayor's newsletter. And then we also utilize Constant Contact, the platform that we send these on, to do any kind of community notification. So as you can see, utilities, back in February, we sent a notification, quite a few of them about billing. So these are just screenshots of the mobile version of the newsletter and some numbers for that. So in the past, what do I have it on? Past year, we have sent 189,000, almost 409 emails. So that's 178,000 that have been delivered with an open rate of 62%, which is really good. That means more than half of the people that receive our emails are opening them. So that means some of them aren't getting delivered, as you can see, but it's not a bad number of them, and the platform itself can clean that out. And then let me see if I've got it on here. Yep. So in 2023, we had about 8,000 contacts that were pulled from utility billing, and since then, we've increased it to 15,691. That's a 96.4% increase in our audience. So we've increased our audience quite a bit. We've had, unfortunately, some unsubscribers. So net total, we've got about 14,967. But we still have an active link where people can sign up on their own and opt in to get our email newsletters. Print media. This includes any notifications or design work on the utility bill, any print newsletters, flyers, programs, or outdoor promotional signs that you may see around the city, any letters, mail-outs, door hangers that utilities might leave behind after they do work on a property, pamphlets, infographics. We get requests from PD and fire for all kinds of recruiting, promoting, hiring flyers when they go out and try to get people to join. We design those. And anything that you hold in your hand is a print media. Public relations and ceremonial events. So these are always fun. A lot of work goes into prepping these types of events. As you can see, we've got the FDOT announcement for State Road 50 on there, the cemetery ceremony, Elise Tomlin Center grand opening, and Cherry Lake Park grand opening. just for a few. And then the Star Party, I like to count that as a public relations event as well, because we get a lot of eyes on that online and nationally doing the Star Party with the dark sky designation. But these events, a lot goes into them to get the media there, to get the coverage, to get our speakers, to get important community members there, the invitations, the stage setup, the run of show, the scripting. A lot of work goes into these events, and we're very proud of the ones that we put on here in Groveland. I would like to say that they're very top-notch. Some internal communications examples, any email, mass email that goes out to staff. In a crisis, the employee phone line, we work on the hotline for employees that can call in. If they don't have internet access, they can call in and get a message on the phone line from the city. Internal newsletter that goes out to them, and any coordination internally comes through my office. Events and marketing, just a couple more examples on there. Some ads that go into that. I had to include Mr. Walker on there. He was part of one of our most popular videos to date, so I like to call him our celebrity. But so as you can see, examples of our outdoor promotional signs. We do the design and order all of those. We work with local influencers to get them to come out and talk about Groveland. So we had Claremont Local come and do a video on Cherry Lake Park in Groveland that Help Us Inspire Tomorrow's Explorers is a paid ad that we did. The Second Friday Block Party is a paid ad in Claremont Sun. Founders Day, that's an example of a paid ad through Fun for Like Kids. They have a website platform, a publication, and then they are very active on social media. We work with them a lot. And then just an example of an event that we boosted and what that looks like on the back end. So the cost per event, per view, it breaks down to cost per view. So we typically get more engagements, more views, and event responses on all ads that we push on Facebook. So those are just a few examples of the marketing and advertising that we do towards our events. And then we've also got media relations. So this includes taking interviews, setting up interviews, any media requests that come in. I think in the past week or 2 weeks, I've had about 5 or 6 media requests and interview requests. So, but these are some examples. I think one of the screenshots in there was an early morning interview right after I had just gotten off a flight from competing at a national competition. So went straight back to work that morning because you never know when something's going to come up. I think this had to do with a ground depression, and so always being ready to go no matter the time or what's going on around me. Some positive things. We had Good Day Orlando come cover a piece of water skiing for Legacy on the Lake, which was part of Founders Day. So they came and did a piece before we had that event, which was super fun. Glad they came out. And then one of our officers got some good attention from Good Day Orlando as well about a gator. And then having media, again, come out to these groundbreakings and ceremonial events that we do. So making sure we're sending media alerts and press releases to them. Emergency and crisis communication. So all of the traffic alerts, GPD alerts, fire alerts, anything you see on those Facebook pages, storm alerts, those all come from my office. Typically, one of us is on call to make sure we can receive the 4 a.m. traffic accident notice or whatever it may be. And then during a storm, we participate in the EOC and are locked in there until it's safe to go home. But we stay there, updating our residents on everything going on. We send out text messages. I have a screenshot of one of the text messages that went out to a certain area. And we work with our, right now, utility billing department to make sure that those go out as they're able to pinpoint locations and customers in those locations to be more precise in making sure they receive a notification they need to receive. In an urgent case, like a boil water notice. So emergency and crisis communications, again, that comes up, you never know, but you have to be ready and have to be prepared and have a plan and be ready and available to answer the call whenever it comes. So looking ahead, I like to include this photo because we got some really good shots during the Star Party of the sky, and I think it's really good for us to promote, what you can actually see when the lights go out here, and I think it's a great event. But looking ahead, I have heard from mayor and council a number of times about surveys. So I have been looking into different survey platforms that we can utilize and have been budgeting for them. This is just an example of that, and I'm happy to share more information on them outside of this with you guys too, in case this is something we're interested in as a city. But so this is an example of a community priorities survey that was sent out by this platform, Flashvote. So they handle helping gather the questions and send them out, and we work on marketing the survey and subscriptions to the public and get a pool of accurate Groveland residents, and it's able to break down by residents to make sure we're getting the feedback from our actual residents that are engaged with our community. And then website, as I mentioned before, doing this in phases. A lot is involved in a website with a content audit, searching for a host platform, content production, content editing, design work, and overall maintenance. So there's some things that can be budgeted for this year as we have resources available to do some work this year, and then moving forward, what are we looking for, what are we wanting as a whole overall, and what can we work towards? So I'm happy to take any questions or have any discussion.
Let's go through the council. Mr. Redzik?
Sure. So, let's see here. These budget meetings should be both operational and financial driven. And with that said, 2 of our city council members on Wednesday was the retreat? Okay. Cited communication as being 2 areas of concern. What I don't think I heard was, is it issues with the message being sent? Or is it with the issue of the messages being received and or understood? So the first thing that at some point that I think we need clarification on from the council is, and it's just not 2 people. I mean, I've issued concerns myself about communications. So I think at some point, the 5 of us need to basically say, this is what my problem is with our communications. Because without that, I now don't know how am I going to get the word out, increase the message when I got 1 less person. How is that going to efficiently and effectively get the word out when I got 1 less person? I will tell you that a big change in the message is bringing South Lake TV in. So we're definitely getting some messages out by way of council meetings, but now my question would be metric-wise, how many people are we actually reaching council-wise, for these different meetings? So now I go, and I wrote down those notes before your presentation. So after your presentation, I see that we have 172% increase from last year to this year. But then you also mentioned something about citizens engagement. How can you quantify, or what is your idea of citizens engagement when we've got this issue of communications? And then finally, you have total number of subscribers, okay, 15,000. What is that makeup? Is that just Groveland and the utility district? Is it Claremont? Is it Oviedo? Because when I look at some of the Facebook pages, they boast having all these, different subscribers or whatever. And when you start narrowing it down and do a profile view, you find out that they're in Las Vegas, so they're someplace else. So tell me, working backwards, of the total subscribers, what do we know that to be the demographic?
Yeah, so our email subscribers, I can confirm, are Groveland residents unless they've subscribed on their own, not being a Groveland resident, because they are from that utility billing form and voter registration. So they have to have a Groveland address.
Okay? The 172%, and then, again, you had mentioned about engagement. If I go down to Second Friday, I don't see a lot of people engaged. And maybe it's the time of day that I've went or otherwise. Now, one of the things that we did talk about on Wednesday, thanks to Amy Jo, was, oh yeah, you're gonna get called out. Was literally people, council, otherwise, literally having a clipboard and literally, oh, by the way, how did you hear about this Second Friday? Do you live here? Have you been here before? So that may be one way of getting some sort of feedback. Did I misquote you on that? No. Okay, just want to make sure. So that may be one way of judging, engagement, who do we have new coming or otherwise. But now go back to how are you going to do, when I say a better job, I don't mean a better job, maybe more efficient or effective with one person less.
What do you mean when you're asking with one person less?
Well, you had 3 people, now you only got 2. Or maybe you had 4 down to 3. Which one is it?
This department on staff has only ever been 3, and now we're 2.
Okay, so how are you going to do, effective communications or otherwise with just you and somebody else versus having, 3, and I don't know how well we were doing with that because I just don't know.
I would say we are doing more efficient work right now.
Efficient, not necessarily
your question is
not necessarily
efficient, yes.
effective, but efficient.
I might ask you what your definition of effective is. What is effective in engagement to you? And I might open that up to everyone.
Effective would mean that instead of 2 people on the council having concerns about communication, there was no one having a concern about communication, or maybe 1.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's appropriate to ask this right now, or maybe you don't have the question, but when the concern is communication, can I get clarification on what that means?
I don't know, because it was not actually taken any deeper than these are the concerns of each one of us. Yeah. And that's why I said, is the issue amongst some of us the message being sent, or maybe not sent the way that is being intended, or is the issue, on the other hand, the message being received and or understood? So until we get that kind of clarified, and Wednesday was not that type of an environment, but it was on the heels of having this tonight, so it's appropriate to say, that it is a noted concern, and how we get it addressed is going to need to have some more feedback from council.
Okay.
That's all that I got.
Amy Jo?
Okay, I got a couple questions. I'm gonna start with the easy one though.
Okay.
What does a day look like for you?
Yeah. So every day in the communications department is completely different. There are some things that are normal. Wake up, check for emails immediately to see if there's anything urgent that I have to address. Usually there's an email with a concern from a resident right away, so I make sure that's taken care of right away. If there's any media requests, if there's anything that happened early morning, late night that I might need to address right away. And then check for news. Check to see if there's any news breaking about Groveland, make sure there's nothing pressing that needs to be addressed. Social media, check social media, see what people are talking about, see what's going on, if there's anything we need to do with that. And then a bunch of standing meetings, I would say, with different departments, different issues that are being discussed at the time, different strategies and plans that we're developing. And at any given moment, my day can completely change, and I have to go take a media interview, or have to figure out if we're sending a message or handling the message and gathering all of the information for the message on a certain incident that comes up. Say a fire hydrant got hit by a car, and now residents are asking about what's going on, or so every time one of those happens, I'm taken away from something that I'm working on and addressing that. So every day is a little bit different. It keeps me on my toes, keeps me going. So, and then I would say for my communications coordinator, I am easy to trust her with making sure everything's staying updated on social media, anything staying updated with drafting language that I might need help with on a future message that we know is coming. So help with those things, making sure that social media comments and messages are being addressed, and she's also handling department meetings as well. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to switch over to April and Pam for a minute. For the budget, the operating expenses, what is included in those operating expenses? Because it seems high.
So in looking at the operating expenses, sorry, I've got like too many different papers here. So basically, you've got your basics, you've got your professional services, which is like specialty design work type of stuff. You've got marketing, so all of the ads that they're doing, you know, that they're placing and putting out on Facebook, all of the social media kind of stuff that they're doing. They've got marketing, that's usually a big one.
Is that for like paid ads on or boosting posts? Okay,
Yes.
I'm just trying to make sure I understand.
No, that's fine. So printing and binding, so any of the things that they have to send out. You've got obviously education and training that's in there, travel and per diem that are in there, right? Your standard things that are in there. You've got contract services, which is the True North marketing. And then I'm not even sure how to say this, but it's FAHCT management.
For next fiscal year,
Okay, that's actually for next fiscal year. So I'm assuming if you're talking for next year or this year, so
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
promotional merchandise, big items. So like the Groveland giveaways, things are that we sell at the markets, those kinds of things. And then events also, you know, when they have specialty things that they need to do for the events, for different events that we have.
Thank you. Back to Jen. So 33 posts per week. How many of those are duplicate posts on different platforms?
It could be a few, like if it goes to our main Facebook page and then it gets also posted to our story, or if it goes on our main Facebook page and our main city Instagram. So that does count into that, yes.
I was just trying to clarify that. What things do you think we can do to boost the algorithm for Facebook and Instagram?
That's a great question. Meta's algorithm does not like being spammed. It doesn't like, it likes when a post is on there and it sits there and it kind of marinates. It does well with that. When you push out a lot of information, which is hard as a city because we have a lot of information to put out, but having the posts that sit there and build that engagement, that's an engagement. When I say that, means comments, likes, reactions. The more that it gets and the longer that it's up, the more eyes that get on it, the more engagement that it gets. And then Meta inadvertently starts pushing that to the top of people's feeds because it sees that it's a popular post. On that note, more posts could be pushed. They could be sponsored. It just depends on the type of post. A lot of ours Meta won't allow it because it is deemed a political post. So that's an issue that we run into. But things like events, it's okay to market those. Meta allows that, so.
When placing ads and boosting posts, so when we're paying to like boost posts and place ads, what filters are we using to make sure that gets to the right audiences?
Yeah, we use Groveland, the geographical area of Groveland, a little bit outside of Groveland. We do our main demographic, which our main demographic on our Facebook page is female between 35 and 45, or 30 and 45. That's our main audience, so we really push to that audience as well. They're the ones that are bringing kids out to our events and stuff too. So those are the main areas that we focus on, but we do include anything outside of that as well. Just we push a little bit more to those areas.
And last question. What programs do you use when you're coming up for the verbiage for posts, or what programs, if any, do you use for that?
That's a good question. I've been looking into different AI systems. AI in communication is becoming quite a hot topic and tool, actually. Right now, I would say most of ours are made creatively on our own, mostly through Bridget, drafting those and making those. But AI is definitely at the forefront of everyone in the communications world's mind and helping and assisting with those things.
Thank you. Good.
Jeff? Judah?
Thank you. Mike talked about, and the slide was on there about how many emails are sent. He questioned where we get. So you can go back to the slide if you want. Might help me with the numbers, but I think it was 16,000 something. And then just so I kind of want to look at it, I've got a quick question about that.
Yeah, sure.
Nothing major. Slides. I like looking at your pretty slides.
Oh, this one, and then there's
No,
this one.
This one.
Okay.
Emails sent, and that's 12 months worth of emails being sent. Maybe it is the next slide, if you go to the next one. I think that was more granular. Yeah. So total subscribers. So I know that I get the emails from the city. I think I had to go onto the municipal page and agree to get those. Probably been getting them long before I sat in a council seat. So when you say subscribers gained 15,691, are we adding that together saying it's 29? Do you see the number, or is that from the 15,691 is from the inception of doing?
If you take away the unsubscribed.
I didn't hear.
So you take your subscribers gained and subtract the unsubscribed, and that's
The
total
unsubscribed, yes. But I'm trying to figure, okay, but I'm trying to figure out where we have total and then we got the gain.
Oh, yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the 15,000 is from what you're asking, from the creation of our account.
Okay.
Yes.
And then people unsubscribe.
Yes.
So we always talk about, we have 25,000 residences in Groveland, assuming, it's like my husband and I probably have several email accounts each. I don't know that he's subscribed to this, but I am. Is there a way to increase that? I mean, it goes back to how do we get the word out to get people to increase that?
Yeah, absolutely. We can push this as an ad on Facebook, push the link to subscribe. We can include it in every mayor's newsletter, every current newsletter that we have that goes out right now, and ask people to share it so others can subscribe. We do have, at most of our events, we have a QR code at the Groveland table where people can just scan the QR code and subscribe. There's many different ways that we can go about getting more subscribers for this. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes, just in passing, people will say, well, I didn't get that. And I'm like, well, are you subscribed? And I kind of will sit there and explain to them how to do that.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that prefer not to be social media or email savvy, so to speak. So there's a large
To add
portion
to
of
that, on the homepage of our website, there is a button on the homepage of the website that says subscribe to our newsletter, and then it's also pinned to the top of our Facebook page.
Excellent.
So if any new people, if that's somewhere you want to point them to go,
Okay.
that's an easy way to get to it.
Thank you.
Yep.
You talked about surveys with flash vote. I see on page 3 of this here that a community survey platform is $9,900.
Yep.
Are we budgeting for that, or are we actually using them already?
No, we are not using them already. That's something that I'm budgeting for next year that I've got included.
That was going to
Yeah.
be my question.
Yeah.
What would the
Next
cost be
fiscal
on
year.
that? So you said that there's a longer watch time on certain things. What do you attribute that to? Is it because you're putting out more reels or more? I mean, if you had to put your finger on the pulse, what do you think gets that longer watch time?
Yes, the videos that people are watching, and they might watch a reel on repeat, or if we have a longer video promoting an event, we've pushed a couple ads from videos that we've paid for in the past for a videographer to come and put together as marketing, and we've posted those videos and pushed them. So we've got people watching. That's what that watch time is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just one last question. I know I'm prolific about forwarding things when I see it, whether it's, you know, the notice for this city council budget meeting or the city council meeting. Once that's forwarded, say I forward it from Facebook, is there any way that you can track that that's been forwarded, or if I forward it, whether somebody has looked at the forwarded piece? Are you able to capture that?
Yes, Meta does capture how many times it's been shared, whether it's been shared directly or it's been a share from a share from a share. It does count that, yes.
All right, fair enough. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Vice Mayor?
Jen, I didn't see it in your presentation, so I was wondering if you could draw your org chart in the air for me so I can get a picture of it.
Sure, I do. Let me get some help for this real quick. My org chart is, it goes city manager, communications director, communications coordinator.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
Sorry, communications director, communications coordinator, and with me reporting to the city manager.
So it's the city manager, you, and then,
Communications coordinator. So I've got it up on the screen for you.
well, maybe you did, but I did not see it. There was a chart that had 3 million views on it. Do you recall that chart? It said something about 3 million views. I think we were like 4 across or something.
Mm-hmm.
What is that 3 million views? Can you tell me again what that is?
Yep.
And what that time frame is?
That's how many eyes have been on our Facebook posts for the past year. So going back a year to, actually that's from October 1st, 2024, so this fiscal year. So October 1st, 2024 through now, May 19th, we've had 3 million eyes total on our Facebook posts.
From October till May?
From October till now, May 19th.
What is happening with the money that is not being used for the position that was eliminated, if you will? And why was that position eliminated?
As for what's being done with the money, I might point to the city manager or finance for assistance with that.
So that money is actually, for lack of a better way of saying it, it stays in there because it was budgeted for the year, but it is not being touched. But it is not being touched. At the end of the year, it'll go back into, because Jen is a part of the general fund, it'll kind of go back into the kitty as part of the fund balance for the end of the year.
And, okay, thank you, April. And with the onslaught of the growth and the various things that are happening, I still struggle or fail to understand why that position was eliminated. Can you help me out?
Sure. As for why it was eliminated, the position itself with eliminated, I don't know if that's the correct term or not.
Whatever the reason, maybe, it could be semantics, but why is it not there anymore?
Yeah, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, as you know, the position was eliminated. It was a deputy director of communications, and it was my decision that we didn't need a director, a deputy director, and a communications coordinator. Given the fluidity of the department, the scale and the scope of the services, we might be better off employing contractors, which may charge a lot less, and again, that general fund money would be carried forward from the savings incurred from that expense.
So does that mean that that position will not come back?
Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, when you eliminate a position and a person associated with that position, if you reinstated that position, I imagine you'd hear from some attorneys. So no, that position will not come back.
Okay, I'm just, I'm trying to get a heightened understanding, Mike. I don't believe I was one of the ones to remark about the communications, although I usually am one, but I don't believe I was this time. What is your timeline for getting the word out to the community regarding events? Because they seem to be different for everything. And again, I am trying to get an enhanced understanding and understand what the timeline is. Is it 2 weeks for Juneteenth, 2 weeks for Second Friday? How do you regulate the timeline for getting the word out?
Yeah, so for events like Second Friday, we've had every single Second Friday published on Facebook since the calendar came out for them. So we've got all of those up there, and then as we get closer to the actual month of Second Friday itself, we begin pushing it for that whole after. It's basically on a rotating schedule, so there's always an ad for Second Friday being pushed. For events like Juneteenth, as soon as we get the information, ideally it would be a month to 2 months out that we're able to promote that already. But again, everything depends on when we get the information for that and when that's provided to us so we can get it out. Again, preferably 1 month to 2 months out for events like that. For like July 4th, we're actually starting that as soon as we get through Juneteenth and get that information from the Parks Department. But usually we're dependent on getting that information from another department. But and I'll say that timeline is usually a month to 2 months out.
So let me get this straight. Your getting it out is dependent on the other departments getting the information to you. So you can't say Memorial Day, we're going to have that information out the 1st of April. So whoever the department is dependent on how you get this information out. Question, what if that department is lackadaisical or someone goes on sick leave or something like that, then how do you ensure that this information comes forth in a timely manner? And also, I have a question regarding Memorial Day, the event that's going to take place on May 26th. That information, I believe, came out last week. And the reason for that was?
That's when we got the information for it. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes between.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the council, I can speak directly to that because I recall in our Thursday briefings, a couple of you asked what was the plan for Memorial Day. And I didn't ask Jen in communications, I asked Mike Walker. And we went over this kind of in the Parks and Rec about the events and said, when will we have that? And we can show you the emails. And he said, hold tight, because they didn't have the details coordinating with TOVA and some other groups who are going to participate in the event. So as soon as he finished that draft flyer, we forwarded it to the mayor and council. Actually, at the same time, we sent it to communications, and then it was polished up and communications posted it.
Is there something that can be done to shore up the gap? Because what can be done to bridge the gap between the time the information is initiated and communication getting it? How do we bridge that gap?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, that's a great question, one that we have internal dialogue with almost every senior staff meeting. Jen expresses frustration to the rest of the group, and I'll take responsibility and try to do better.
That's it. That's all I have at this moment.
Okay, thank you. Once again, I have 2 minutes to go through all my stuff, so I'll probably have to get with you. So I'll just give you the abbreviated version, okay? First, informed and engaged is a cornerstone of the strategic plan, and I really appreciate how we've really mounted a great effort in that area. And I hear it from our citizens all the time that the communication is up. So kudos to that. With that said, website, I'll give you my opinion on it right now. You don't need a new website, you need one that's taken care of. When you go into search and things come up in non-chronological order, there's no rhyme or reason on how to get to things. We can get all the new website stuff we need, but unless somebody's in there taking care of it every minute, every day, and keeping it up to date, it's not going to be any different than the one we have now. So I'd really, before I see another, just me personally, another proposal for another new website, I want to know what the plan is to make sure the website is correct. And I think you have the ability to do that with the one you have now. Second thing is marketing. We use marketing a lot. I'm going to take my last 40 seconds on this. I haven't seen marketing here. Marketing, in my opinion, is the understanding of human behavior before they even know they want it. You know, it's research. You just read Steve Jobs and all that. Without marketing, iPad wouldn't have launched because the surveys said, we don't want it, we don't want it. Surveys have a tendency to be surveying people that are already there or already around, where marketing is doing research, doing abstract science to say, yeah, that's what they want, that's what they want, that's when they want it. So when I'm talking communications, where I think that we're missing is that we don't have the market research to target the demographics that we want to target for certain things when we're putting it out. And as well as when we're doing our second Friday and when we're doing a lot of our events, we just need to really get some advice on really market behavior. Do I think we need to go hire a director? No. But I think we need somebody like a marketing spectrum or somebody that's out there doing this kind of thing, and ask them, because we'll save money. We won't be putting a stage up and 35 people coming. We're going to get our return on the investment. So I've got 5 seconds left. And I'll circle back with you, but I'd really like to understand, you have some big blips. I think it looks like Founders Day and stuff where it hits, and I wonder what learnings we have from that, as well as what learnings we have when we have the big events that people attend, like Christmas. And it seems like when we have kids at Second Friday and things, we seem to have higher attendance. So I'd really like to delve into that chart a little bit more, but
Okay.
I really appreciate all you've done.
Thank you, and happy to provide that. So, yeah. Thank you, everyone.
And with that, I'm going to, Mr. Manager, do you have anything? Anything? 5 minutes, we'll start. We're going to break this down. Okay, good evening. The date is May 19th, 2025, and the time is 7:12 p.m. I hereby call to order the meeting of the City Council of the City of Groveland, Florida. May we please arise for the pledge and remain standing for the invocation, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Pastor Shamae Daniels of Hope International will lead us tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. Greetings to our mayor, our vice mayor, city manager, and all the council. Let's go into prayer. Amen. Father God, we give you honor and glory for this night. We thank you for the privilege to just honor you and acknowledge you. You said that we are to acknowledge you in all of our ways, and you will direct our path. We acknowledge you, our need for your guidance and direction. Bless each and every member of our council tonight, all those that have gathered here to come together for a meeting of the minds, Lord God. We pray, Lord, that your peace will be with us, that you would give us guidance and direction on tonight. Bless all the efforts. Bless our city. Bless our state. Bless our country. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Jenny, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Keith Kehoe,
Here.
Vice Mayor Barbara Gaines. Councilmember Amy Jo Carroll.
Here.
Councilmember Judith Fike. Here. Councilmember Mike Radzik.
Here.
City Manager Kine. Here. City Attorney Anita Gerasi Carver. Here. Sergeant at Arms Chief Sean Ramsey. Here. On your right here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Next, we'll go to guest speakers and presentations and proclamations. Chief Carroll, will you please present Fire Officer of the Year and Firefighter of the Year, please? You look very nice tonight, by the way. That's nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, Mr. Hine, City Manager, everybody, Anita, Virginia, Mr. Maslow. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here tonight. You know I'm not much for words, and so I'll kind of get right to the point here. So good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to recognize two of our fire department members, Fire Officer and Firefighter of the Year for 2024. We usually get a little bit of a late start to these. The awardees that we are going to discuss tonight were chosen by their peers and fire administration. This wasn't something the fire administration just said, let's handpick who we think. No, this was by their peers, which is pretty impressive. So the first individual that I'd like to discuss tonight is someone who takes his role as a lieutenant with the fire department extremely seriously. He's consistently makes the city and the fire department a priority and is determined to work hard to see that every Groveland Fire Department employee is safe, properly trained in both fire and EMS. He's an amazing paramedic. And he vows to see that everyone goes home safely the next morning. He is someone who never says no. I've never heard or asked this gentleman to do anything where he said, no, I don't have the time, I cannot do that. Very dedicated. When he's asked to complete something, and he is the kind of officer that members of the department and the surrounding departments as well look up to and trust explicitly. He, without a doubt, embodies what a good, competent fire officer looks like. So without further ado, I would like the Fire Officer of the Year, Michael Ridge, to come forward, please. A few words?
I'll
You don't have to.
together. Right there. I'll get you two together.
Mayor, council members, appreciate you guys allowing us to do this today. I know my peers have nominated me for this, but I honestly couldn't do it without them. Their support is everything, and being able to make them happy and see them progress in their career makes me keep going forward. So, thank you.
I should also note that Lieutenant Ridge just got out of the hospital a few days ago, and he's here and back to work, if you can believe that. All right, moving forward, the next individual I'm going to discuss tonight is one that has made tremendous progress in developing his career over the past couple of years now. I would like to quote what his lieutenant had to say about him. I'm very proud to see the amount of growth and development that has occurred over the past year, especially since the beginning of his fire officer classes and write-up lieutenant task book. He has displayed a commitment to his crew and his department by stepping out of his comfort zone and tackling this big step in his career. His ability to handle difficult situations and his knowledge base and understanding of fire behavior, tactics, and command have grown exponentially. So in saying that, I would like to ask driver engineer Dylan Chapman to come forward to receive his Firefighter of the Year award.
Chief.
Surprised he took his hat off for this.
Yeah, council members, I'm just happy for the opportunity to be able to grow my career. It's been a very good pleasure working for the department, so thank you.
Thank you. Chief Carroll, can we have the council?
Yes. And both award recipients, if you can come up for a picture with council.
How are you, sir? Congratulations. I appreciate it.
Councilwoman Carroll, do you want to? There we go. There we go. Okay. I've got a head back there that's hidden. Okay. All right. Looking right here. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I know you couldn't see it. There you go.
Okay, next. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for your service, everybody. Now I'd like to have Thrive Claremont come up for an update, please.
Greetings, Sherry Lewin, Crystal Lake Drive, Claremont, Florida. And I am the founder and the current executive director of Thrive Claremont. We were founded in 2016. We've served over 3,000 teens with our mission, which is empowering teens to succeed. We do this through a number of programs throughout the year. And talk about market research. One of the first things we did in 2016 was formed a teen advisory council. And it's populated with students throughout the region from public schools, private schools, homeschooled students, Florida virtual school students. And they meet and help us plan and execute programs for themselves and their peers throughout the year. So tonight I have, before we talk about our program that's happening next month in Groveland, I have 3 of our Teen Advisory Council members with me here today to share with you who they are, where they go to school, and the type of project they've been working on this semester for Thrive, so you can see the variety of opportunities. All right.
Hi. Hi, my name is Thomas Yanesi. I'm from Howie's in the Hills, and I go to FLVS full-time. I work on the social media with Thrive. What software you use? Huh? What software? We use Canva. I don't really know what to say. I'm sorry. But yeah, so.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone. I'm Zoe Banton. I am located in Mineola, Florida. I am a current senior at Lake Mineola High School. I am the head of the mental health resource guide that Thrive is currently working on this year. It will be launching hopefully by the end of this month and will be available at our summer pop-ups. We have like several different topics that will be covered in the resource guide, such as like how to deal with academic problems, such as, maybe if you failed a class, how to deal with the whole process of, college applications and whatnot, because we all know that can be quite stressful. I also work, I'm also part of the event planning group as well, where we work on summer pop-ups and collecting donations and things like that. So yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Evan Goslin. I live in Claremont, and I am a graduating senior at Pinecrest Lakes Prep, dual enrolled at Lake Sumter. As part of my job on the TAC, I am a part of the communications team. So I do most of the video editing for the group. We just finished redesigning some of our ads from last year, including the one that we're going to show in a minute, as well as conduct interviews at some of our events and get that all recorded and posted to social media. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have 2 of our oldest members, and Jaylyn is our youngest member of the Teen Advisory Council, ranging from 18 to 14 tonight. So we'd like to share with you a video that the Teen Advisory Council wrote, produced, and edited about our Summer Pop-Ups program.
Are you a teen who's bored and looking for something new and exciting this summer?
Yes, I am.
So bored.
Yes! Yeah. Thrive Claremont's yearly summer pop-ups is the answer.
We offer fun activities and interactive learning experiences to help you meet your goals. Learn American Sign Language, fishing, robotics, photography, and so much more. So treat yourself to a whole lot of fun this summer with Thrive Summer Pop-Ups.
Fishing? I like fishing.
I like fishing too.
Now that sounds cool. Let's go!
Learn more and register at thriveclaremont.org.
Thank you.
Are you a teen who's bored and looking for something new and exciting this summer?
Yes. So I do apologize. That does have last year's Summer Pop-Ups dates on it because we accidentally sent the wrong video file, and it happens. But I wanted to let you know that we are going to be, I guess the slides would have the right dates on them he's going to share, but one of the things while he's pulling it up that I wanted to share with you is that our partnership with the city of Groveland has really blossomed since, I think it was 2019 when we first started working with the Parks and Rec Department and Mayor Wilson and Mike Hine. And when I was starting Thrive, I would run around talking to anyone that would talk to me about how we could grow some teen programming. And I used to say, we will provide programming and grow the programming to the extent that the community supports us. And that's the only way it can work, right? And in the colloquialism of teens today, Groveland understood the assignment. And so we have had, just this year, grown to our Land Your First Job event, which was held in the Nathaniel Community Gymnasium in February. We had over 150 students get to interact with local employers, get help with resumes. They learned about what the numbers were on their paychecks, where all the money went, and also labor laws. Next month, on June 18th, we're going to be here in Groveland, and here all along Lake David. First Baptist Church of Groveland is providing space for us. The Oxford Exchange is providing space for us. So it's truly a community effort to put these events on. If we go to the next slide, I just want to share with the council the topics that we're going to be covering here on the 18th. We'll have chess tactics, pier fishing on Lake David, make your own pasta, make and take alley, gardening and propagation, photography, robotics, origami, car care, creative writing, emergency aid, and video production. We'll also have Groveland Police Department will be here. It's not on that slide, but they'll be doing dogs, drones, and detectives, which was really popular last summer. But for the first time, we have a council member leading a summer pop-up, and I want to recognize Mayor Keogh, who's going to be running our Make Your Own Pasta pop-up this summer. So thank you. So I want to extend an invitation to all the council members that are interested to come out and let's see how he does and observe the program in person. Thank you for your time and thank you for your support.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Jenny, will you please, first I think we need to ask if there's anything on the consent agenda we'd like to take off from the council.
H.
H. Okay, so let's remove H and put it under new business. Any other? I would like to ask for F and G, just because there's big dollars. There's about $25 million there, and I'd like just to have that on the record as what we're doing with that. So that leaves us A through E on the consent agenda. Jenny?
Consideration of approval, April 21st, 2025 City Council Workshop Minutes, April 21st, 2025 City Council Meeting Minutes, April 28th, 2025 City Council Meeting Minutes, May 5th, 2025 City Council Workshop Minutes, May 5th, 2025 City Council Meeting Minutes.
Thank you. Can we have a motion to accept the consent agenda as modified?
I motion to accept the consent agenda as modified.
Thank you. A second?
I second.
And we have a second.
I second.
Okay, we have a second.
Sorry.
Thank you. It's going to be a long night. Okay. With that said, any discussion from the council on the consent agenda? Seeing none. Any from the audience? Seeing none, let's go ahead and take the roll.
Member Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Haynes? Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. All right, moving on. Passes. Moving on to old business, we have none. Moving on to new business. We go ahead and consider F and G and H up front, if we can. So, Mr. Hine, could you kind of give us a...
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good evening. Does the clerk want to read the resolution into the record?
Resolution 2025-26, approving a reimbursement resolution with the not-to-exceed amount of $10 million for the new fire station number 3 facility.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, good evening. This does not authorize any expenditures. This is simply a reimbursement resolution. So pursuant to federal tax regulations, as some of you may know, This allows for expenses to accrue and be reimbursed should you go through a tax-exempt financing. So again, it doesn't authorize any expenses, but it allows you to accrue expenses and then get later reimbursed if you do a tax-exempt instrument. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the panel? No? Can I have a motion to accept F?
I motion to accept F.
That's 2025-26.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Any discussion from the citizens? Seeing none. Let's go ahead and call the roll, please.
Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines? Aye. Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. On to G, Resolution 2025-18. Could you please read the title?
Resolution 2025-18, approving the proposal of Truist Bank and Truist Commercial Equity, Inc. to provide the city with a not-to-exceed $15 million revolving line of credit to finance and refinance capital improvements to the city's water and sewer system.
Members of the council, this is a resolution authorizing $15 million line of credit. Line of credit isn't necessarily a debt that doesn't have an obligation against it, meaning repayment by SRF and grant funds. Line of credit is working capital for those familiar with private sector concepts. So it allows us to pay contractors while we're waiting for reimbursement from the state. We did a competitive bid, and I believe we had 3 responses. This one is with Truist Bank, and the rate is at prime rate minus 2.5%. Pam is in the audience as well as representatives of PFM if there are any questions about that.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to accept 2025-18?
I'll motion to accept 2025-18.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Any discussion from the panel? The controls on that would be what we have, it comes back for that line of credit. If we take over a certain amount out, does that come back to the council, say 10 million?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, there isn't a trigger that would require it coming back to the council, but you'll get monthly reports and statuses in regard to the capital projects.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none,
Reporting by way of the war or by way of something presented here?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, yeah, of course it'll be in the wars. It'll be on one-on-one meetings with me and Pam and Brenda. Brenda will actually be administering the project management for most of it. As you know, the most critical project is Sampy Road, wastewater treatment plant, where we're nearing capacity and it's almost 40 years old. So that is the focus of our first capital efforts.
What's the term of this?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it's a line of credit at prime minus 2.5% daily. Again, you don't draw against it unless you need it to bridge gap payments to contractors.
Is it a year? Is it 2 years? Is it 5 years? I mean, is it just open-ended?
Well, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, representatives of PFM are here. It's 5 years, and we better not need it for 5 years.
That's all I wanted to know.
And this is to get us going before the infusion comes from the grants, right? And that's scheduled for when? Maybe we should say that.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we've had discussions. Again, this council approved the accelerated agreement with the state where they promised to reimburse us much quicker. But again, given the scale, and typically contracts like this are front-loaded, meaning mobilization and acquisition. As you know, in some of our briefings, we've had some conversations with contractors trying to hold the prices because of some changes in the commodity markets, steel, concrete, tariffs. So we're trying to execute the project as quickly as possible.
But the grants are going to hit in the fall, right? Am I wrong
Yeah,
on that?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we already have some of the agreements and commitments, but we're seeking more in this fall, as well as some direct appropriation.
Okay, thank you. Okay, further questions, discussion? Further questions, discussion from the citizens? Seeing none, let's go ahead and take the roll.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines? Aye. Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So moved. On to H, Resolution 2025-28. Please read the title.
Resolution 2025-28, approving the development agreement between Racetrack, Inc. and City of Groveland relating to a new racetrack located at 20360 O'Brien Road, Groveland, Florida, to allow for its opening to the public and issuance of the certificate of occupancy only under certain conditions outlined in the agreement.
Thank you. We have a motion to accept H, 2025-28.
I make a motion that we accept 2025-28.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second. Discussion?
Can you explain, I guess, either Mr. Hine or Mr. Maslow, what that special condition is and how we're opening that racetrack with the obvious absence of a light at O'Brien and 27?
Microphone.
How's this? It was anticipated by our development review team on behalf of HAF, David Montine, our traffic consultant, that a traffic light was necessitated as part of the process. Building permits had been submitted, construction was initiated. As racetrack nears completion of the building, this is to offer the CO understanding there is a temporary solution and there is an agreement in place in writing that makes sure that traffic signal is executed. It was initiated by Public Works and their attorney, and this gives us something in writing to make sure that that signal is executed.
But what are they doing in the meantime to be allowed to open before the signal is there?
There are some short-term solutions that have been initiated on 27. I have not personally seen them or was I involved in that process, but we can provide that information with an actual plan and more detail after this meeting.
So you'll give us the detail after we vote to approve it?
Or you can decide not to vote.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, it is entirely up to you. This was an agreement that was reached with FDOT Racetrack and Public Works. Mr. Fish couldn't be here this evening. It is a directional median opening that's temporary. But again, we can continue it to the next meeting.
No, I just, because I'm confused, Mr. Manager, I understood, I thought when we did this way back when, it had to be in prior to opening, but I've seen nothing done, so did we just say, okay, you don't have to do it, or?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'd encourage you to continue the item while Mr. Fish is here, but you're absolutely right. We were in conflict with Racetrack and the developers because we were denying them certificate of occupancy and the ability to open. If you read in the staff report contained in the packet, it talks about we required that signalization up front. They claim that they were waiting for FDOT to give final approval and didn't get that until quite recently, and the lead time for those mast arms is several months. So in a compromise, they got their traffic engineers to agree with FDOT engineers to allow for this temporary median opening. Again, if you want to continue it and get more information, we're more than happy to do so.
Can I make a motion to continue it, or do we have to finish this motion first?
You can.
You would need to finish this motion first.
Got it.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, if I may, Anita, what legal ramifications are there especially if racetrack has not fulfilled their obligations?
So there was a condition of approval based on the representations of racetrack that they would install the signal in order to get site development plan approval. They were not able to accomplish that. They want to open, I believe, over Memorial Weekend. This was the interim solution. I think it's in place currently. There's some delineators, and I think it's a right out only, if I'm not mistaken. But this is something FDOT would have to permit. So they have to apply for the interim solution, permit it. It could be that FDOT says they have to do the string light in the interim, but that's really the jurisdiction of FDOT, not the city. But we did condition our approval on the light going in.
Okay, and that's the important part. Thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor.
In consideration of the safety for our citizens, I do not believe that we should vote on this tonight. I get it about opening and conditions and all of that, but safety comes first for our constituents, and it's kind of like putting the cart before the horse, and I don't think it's a good move to, I think we need to table it.
You would like to withdraw your motion?
So I would like to withdraw my motion. Thank you, Mayor.
I would like to make a motion to continue this item.
The second.
Withdrawing
withdrawal.
her second.
I'm sorry.
Will you withdraw the second on the motion?
Based on the fact that Barbara withdrew her motion, I'll happily withdraw my second.
Thank you. This motion withdrawn. Okay.
Now I can make a motion. I would like to make a motion to continue this item to the next meeting when we get all the facts. I don't want to vote on something without having the facts of what we're voting on.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Mr. Radzic seconds. Okay, with that, any further discussion? Any discussion from the members?
And ask me.
Did you have a discussion? Okay.
Why isn't TJ here today? Especially when we had this item.
You know, some things are private, and I make the decision as to whether or not they're relieved, but for the record, his son graduates high school tonight.
Okay, we have see no further discussion from the citizens. We'll go ahead and public comment. That's what I meant to say.
Michelle McIntyre.
Michelle McIntyre, 559 Timber Run. I agree with Ms. Barbara. It is not a good idea for the sake of our residents. FDOT also tried the same idea down at the Lake Harris Landing. No more left-hand turns because of the 7-Eleven across the street. There was just recently a news article about it, and it has created more accidents, no longer being able to do that because now the residents go down to the light and have to clear 2 lanes of traffic to safely make that U-turn. Where this no left-hand turn is gonna go, you're gonna tell those people they have to get in the same lane of everyone trying to get onto the turnpike from 27 onto the turnpike. That lane's not long enough to accommodate the people as it is. Now you're gonna add them and tell them they have to watch those 2 lanes coming at them before they make that U-turn. They're gonna sit there through multiple lights to make that U-turn, therefore backing up traffic further down 27. The better choice would be the pole string light signal, which I know is in that contract as a choice. So I would hope that when it does come back, that that's the choice you all choose versus the no left-hand turn.
Thank you. Very nicely done. Any further public comment?
Yes, Philip Fulmer.
Mr. Fulmer.
Philip Fulmer, 18500 Watercress Court, Groveland. Again, I agree with Vice Mayor also. It's like putting the cart before the horse. I probably have the biggest benefit of anybody around here. I'd probably buy 500,000 gallons a month from that place because they're going to be my closest fueling stop. But if you let them open before red light is there, I would suggest you put a Dan Newland office right next to it, because you'll have accidents all day long. Highway 19 is already a nightmare, and I mean, we've talked about it. I've been involved where 3 different people died underneath my trucks, and you pulling out there to the left, which they've got it blocked off now, but just going to make you make a U-turn and go down. For the council to approve that or going forward before you had a red light there, that's just a nightmare waiting to happen. And I mean, I pull out of there with a couple hundred trucks a day. So it's a nightmare.
Thank you very much. That'll be all public comment. Any further comment? Let's go ahead and take a roll.
Yes. Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines? Aye. Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. Carried. Thank you. Moving on to our scheduled new business, agenda item 1, consideration of approval resolution 2025-27, acknowledging the receipt and review of the final report, city charter review, dated May 5th, 2025. Please read the title, or it goes right to Anita.
The city appointed a charter review committee, and they have held a number of meetings. The item in front of you tonight is a resolution to approve the final report. The committee has recommended to move forward to you 11 ballot measures for your consideration. They wanted to include all of the items that they thought were important to move forward, and so those are included in the final report. It includes the ballot title and the ballot question for your review, and ultimately for your direction at some point. So this resolution is simply to acknowledge receipt and review of the final report.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to accept 2025-27?
I make a motion to accept 2025-27.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second. Open it for discussion. Amy Jo, Ms. Carroll? Good?
It's nothing more than just accepting the report. I'm fine.
Okay, any further discussion?
We're just accepting the report. We are going to, at some point, vote on these and discuss these. I'll go with the accepting the report, as long as this is going to be something that we sink our teeth into further down the road.
Okay, any further comment? Any public comment? Seeing having no public comment, let's go ahead and take the roll.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines? Aye. Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. Carried. Okay, number 2, consideration of approval of resolution 2025-29, approval of sunset, the Charter Review Advisory Committee. Anita?
Mayor and Council, this is simply a resolution to sunset the committee. They've completed the task that you assigned them, and this would dissolve the committee so they would no longer be under sunshine.
Okay, do we have a motion to accept the sunset?
I make a motion to accept the sunset.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Carroll? No? Ms. Fike?
Oh, I said,
Discussion?
oh, no, I'm good. Thank you.
No, just a comment of appreciation for everything that the Charter Review Committee has done. I know that it extended a couple of weeks past there, and very much appreciated.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, any public comment? Having none, let's go ahead and take the roll.
Councilmember Carroll, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Councilmember Radzik?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines? Aye. Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So moved. Consideration for approval, approving A1A document, AIA document A141-2014, Exhibit A, and Ajax Building Company, LLC, guaranteed maximum price of $9,795,494 for fire station project. Chief Carroll, will you please come forward?
Again, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, thank you for this opportunity. And we're very excited about this. Approximately 13 months ago, with the former procurement director, we put an RFP out with a scope of work for a fire station number 3. I'm sure you're all aware that our Fire Station 3 has been in a modular fire station that has served us well for the last 5 years. We've had a few issues here and there with flooding and that kind of thing because it sits on about 10 acres of concrete. So the drainage was a little poor, but we're very grateful to the county who has allowed us rent-free to live on that property in our fire station. Although it is certainly time for an actual fire station that these guys during a hurricane or anything can actually stay in and immediately begin to serve the community surrounding that area afterwards when we begin to do reconnaissance. In saying that, tonight I have some folks here with me. We sent the proposal out and we received about 5 or 6 different contractors with proposals. We did have a committee from the city that sat on that to review those proposals. And it turns out that Ajax building contractors, which are not only out of Tallahassee, but also in Orlando, they were the best fit for us in the city. They have, along with their architectural firm JL2, they have extensive fire station building history. Throughout my extensive fire career, I've been involved in 6 fire station builds, this one being the 6th. And I have to tell you, by far, this has been the best and easiest process with a company, not just the contractor, but the architectural firm as well, extremely responsive. You can call them on their cell phone, they answer. You shoot them an email, you have an answer back immediately. I'm sure you'll hear from Mr. Harris here in a minute, but I've expressed a lot of concerns with pricing. As we know, pricing has gone up exponentially over the last couple of years and, since COVID and so on. And being a good steward of our taxpayer funds, I really did everything possible to make sure that we were staying on track with the pricing, and they have certainly convinced me that they are also in our corner, making sure that they are getting us the best pricing to build this building. So before I continue any further here, I'd just like to identify you guys like ninjas. You scared me. Wow. Got your back. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. We have Tim Sewell, who is the regional director for Ajax. We have Cranston Harris, who is the operations manager out of Orlando. And then we have Jason Warwick. Jason is over here. He's also with Ajax. He will be our project manager for this building. And then from JL2 Architectural Firm, we have Jeremy Cox, and he is here as well. So from this point, unless you have any questions for me, I'm going to hand it over to these gentlemen.
Yes, please do.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Tim Sewell, Regional Director with Ajax. Real quick, the Chief did a great job telling you about us. I can tell you I've been working with Cranston and JL2 Architecture very closely. We have done really what I consider a best value approach for the city, making sure that we are being cost conscious, as the Chief mentioned, every step of the way. So I am not the quarterback of the team. The quarterback is Cranston, and along with Jeremy Cox with JL2. So I'm gonna let them walk you through the presentation and look forward to any Q&A that comes up afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Cranston Harris, Operations Manager, Ajax. I just want to say, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Manager, members of the council, I love what I do. And we really appreciate the opportunity to present to you tonight and explain to you where we are. As the Chief said, we've been working with the Chief over the last 13 months to get to where we are right now. And I really love what I do because when I see the Officer of the Year and the Firefighter of the Year come up, and get those awards, I know that I'm building something that serves the community well. And when I drive by it, it's a monument to me. So I take that to heart, and that's the way we build our buildings. First of all, the project is located at the corner of O'Brien, South O'Brien, and US 19, right down the street from the Clear Lake Tree Farm. Beautiful area. We know that you're going to try to service the community faster response times from your chief and his firefighters. And this is the property, beautiful piece of property that we're looking forward to develop. This is your first elevation. One of the things that we're working with your city folks to make sure that the dark skies ordinance is followed. And we have a meeting with them on Wednesday to go over their requirements to ensure that we're not doing light pollution. So that's your first elevation, 3 bays, fire station 3. That's your front on view. Obviously, it's going to have a fast response time. And then you'll see the overhead shot here going down South O'Brien with what's not pictured right here. And the chief wanted us to make sure that we made a provision for the fuel island. And it's going to be to the right of that picture. This is the overall site plan. You can see the building in the middle. One of the things that we did ensure is that the driveway is concrete to ensure that those heavy trucks, don't damage it. And we look forward. We bring that type of experience, knowing what to put in, so that it's the life cycle of the building is maintained for years to come. The chief mentioned that we need to rough end for a future fuel station. So we have provisions in this design to once we get additional funding, to enhance and bring on a fuel station. In addition to that, this is the floor plan. We know that you'll have a lot of firefighters here working shifts. One of the things that we looked at is the cost of it. The cost ran over budget at some point, so we had to decide to do a shell space. That EMS bay there is a future EMS bay. We're hopeful that during the construction this can come back. All the design is in place. It's ready to go. We just need the funding for it. And then the budget itself. This has been a labor of love for me. It started at $11.7 million, and the chief really beat me up. I'm battered and bruised. During the construction, the design portion, at the 50% design, there were some concerns about where we were. We looked at value engineering to make sure that we're getting the systems in that is absolutely necessary for the functioning of that building. So that's where we are today. During the design development, it was at 11.7. At bid time, we were concerned because we're in a volatile market. We talked about tariffs, and the subcontractor base is just very skittish on what they'll commit to. So what we did is we used our experience and came up with a list of value engineering opportunities, things that we can do to reduce the cost but not change the function of the building and not make the building any less effective than what it's done. So it's more cost-effective solutions without affecting the life cycle of the building. And we know that you're going to want this building for years to come, and that's what we design and build around with our partners, JL2. Challenges and opportunities. There are a lot of challenges in this market. The pricing pressures from the market is one. I talked about the subcontractors. Right now, we did a survey in November, and we found 5 gopher tortoises on site. Obviously, in this environmental conscious market, we have to relocate those tortoises, and we can't really do that until we get approval from the state. So we've been asked to do a recent survey to verify that those 5 tortoises from November didn't grow to 7 or 8. We're hopeful that they migrated somewhere else. So that's a challenge, and that's going to affect when we can start. Completing the contract buyout. Mentioned the subcontractor market. It behooves us to get the subcontracts bought out quickly, because we want to lock those subcontractors into that price before escalation, before any tariffs kicks in. So, that's what we're thinking about. And then the force main tie-in. There was a project that was designed to go on US 19 for us to tie into. That project has since shifted. Mr. Hine, you know about that. So we have to look at an alternate tie-in method. That was going to be gravity fed, a lot less expensive, and now we're going to go with tying into Skinnell's property lift station. We do have opportunities, and we're going to work with the chief to make sure that we give him the best value when we get that done. One of the things that we did do is took advantage of your tax exempt status. So there in the GMP, you'll see a deduct, and we have $120,000 anticipated tax savings in this project. And then because you're a city, we're hopeful that we can have reduced permit fees. So that's what we're looking forward to. As far as the timeline, it's going to really depend on when and how we can evacuate those gopher tortoises. We're hopeful that there are no skinks on that site. When we did the survey in November, there weren't any skinks. So, once that survey is complete and the GMP approval, hopefully tonight, if you guys will allow us, we can start breaking ground, if all goes well, with the gopher tortoises sometime next month. And then this is just our projected, what we call a milestone schedule. The building pad, getting the dirt up so that we can start putting the foundations and also the slab on grade in July. And then this is the CMU structure, which is concrete blocks in September, structural steel in October, and then drying in the building in November. And from that time on through May, we're in there finishing, we're in there making it look pretty, and we're getting it ready for you guys, for your firefighters to come in and operate. Looking forward to our ribbon cutting in June of 2026. But again, this is all contingent upon what we can do with the gopher tortoises and how quickly we can evacuate them. So with that being said, Jeremy, you have anything to add?
You did a great job.
Tim? I open it up for questions and answers.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, if I may. For starters, have you done any nearby fire stations?
We've done in Pasco County, right?
Yeah, we've got 4 stations going up. We've completed 4 stations in the past, but we've got 5 going on right now, brand new builds, 3 for Pasco County. We've got 1 up in Flagler County, and we're getting ready to start 1 up for Gainesville area, city of Gainesville. So it's been a passion of us before fire stations, or in alignment with fire stations, it was public safety. So we are very big on the police side, the police department headquarters, EOCs, that kind of stuff, and then we rolled into fire stations. So we're kind of hitting it from every public safety angle we can as a company.
Okay. Yeah. So in a typical MEP environment, we start off with the schematics, we go to DD, and then we end up VEing from there. How did we get to the $9.7 million without going through those first 2 steps?
So we went through those steps, and I thought there was a slide in there. I didn't see the slide, but there was a list of value engineering. It was yellow highlighted. There is a slew of things that we talked to the chief about and asked him if he would consider. He did consider some of them he didn't. We work as a team to make sure that you're getting the best value. So the VE process really is at every step. We look at it at we look at it at schematics. We look at it at the 50% design phase. We look at it at GMP. And to me, the GMP phase was the toughest because I was sweating bullets. I was at $10.7 million, and I knew what the budget was. And we had to do some drastic things to make sure that we got to that number without affecting the quality of the building.
So you've already priced things out as if we did a DD, and
Yes.
you've already got VE in there.
Yes, sir.
So now you're going through the project, and all of a sudden you find that, wait a second, I don't have enough of space between the ceiling and the roof to go ahead and put my electrical in or otherwise. Who's going to bear that change order?
So because it's a GMP, what we do is we put a contingency inside the GMP to try to address things like that. But because we have an extensive background of doing this, we know exactly how it's going to be built. But things do happen, and you're right. I mean, things come up, but that's why we carry a contingency to address items like that.
What type of a warranty do I have on something like a roof springing a leak?
A roof springing a leak, so typically it's a 20-year, no-dollar limit warranty. Between now and 25 years, the manufacturer is on the hook to do it, and there's a 5-year workmanship from our subcontractor to do that. So we have the material workmanship warranty, and you also have the manufacturer's warranty.
What type of reimbursable expenses are there, or is it built into the GMP?
It's built into the GMP, but our general conditions is reimbursable, fixed.
That's all that I have. Thank you.
Ms. Fike?
No questions at this time. I think Mike asked one that I had, so as happens.
Ms. Carroll?
Just a couple. So the cost-saving measures that you're taking, have you taken them at any of the fire stations that you've completed?
Yeah, so one of the things that stuck out to me is a system called Panduit. It's a trademark for carrying conduits or electrical systems, and it's an expensive option. So we went with a lesser option. It still provides the same function, but you're not buying the brand name. You're buying something less.
So these aren't just like things we're assuming will not affect the life of the building, but we're confident that they won't.
There are things that went up as well. I mean, initially we had asphalt in the driveway, and we knew that we have heavy trucks here. Over the life of the project, asphalt wouldn't work. So we told them that we had to make it concrete to make it more durable. And we're looking at life cycle of the building. So, stuff like that we bring to the table.
Okay, great. And you said you are following the dark sky lighting code.
Yes. So we're meeting with, I think it's Andrew Landis on Wednesday. There are some things that is coming up that we're working with the building department, the building official as well as Andrew Landis, to make sure that we are adhering to your ordinance.
Okay, and other than that, I just want to say that I kind of love that this building will grow with us. I like the extra shell and the space that we're thinking long-term and not that we're going to outgrow it in 3 years and be like, whoops, we need to build a bigger fire station.
And I hope I can be here to build the EMS space. I'd love to build that out for you.
Yeah, you always sell it.
Vice Mayor?
Cranston,
Yes, Ms.
what would cause a delay in this being on schedule?
So one of the things I mentioned is the gopher tortoises. It's always an unknown. So we have to do a survey, and the survey has to, we have to capture everything that's on site to make sure that we don't violate any environmental codes. So if we don't do that right and do it fast enough, that could delay us a little bit, but we're in the process of trying to work through that with the chief.
Anything else other than the gophers?
Yeah, the skinks. I hope that there are no skinks. It's like a lizard. It's an it's a protected species.
Is that in the original environmental report?
It's in the original environmental report. There were none shown, none there at the time. This was in November, but we don't know what happens to wildlife. The wildlife migrates, and I can't sit here and guarantee you that there will be no skinks.
Skinks.
Skinks. S-K-I-N-K.
They eat termites.
Oh, okay.
Or lizard.
And one more question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
What, if you had to give a percentage, would it be 0.1%, 1%, that there's a possibility it could be finished early?
Right now, the way we priced it, because of the pricing pressures, we made sure that it was as tight as we could. So, we don't build fluff in the schedule. We try to make sure that it's right. We obviously try to get it in before time, but we don't want to add what we call general conditions to the job where you're adding cost for fluffing the time. And one of the things that we did is we had a halftime, assistant project manager. We cut that down to a quarter time because we know how tight you guys are on the budget. So we have skin in the game as well. So as far as the schedule itself, it's very tight. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee it's going to be May of next year. Our projection right now is June next year, ribbon cutting.
Okay, I just thought there might be a little something, little room in there somewhere. All right, thank you.
No, we try to make it tight so that you're getting the best bang for your buck and we're not fluffing it.
I hear you. Okay, thank you.
Mayor, can I circle back with one question? Sure. Thank you. You mentioned that there are 5 stations that you're currently working on: Pasco County, Gainesville, and maybe Flagler.
Clay County.
Okay. Of those 5, am I to assume you also gave them a guaranteed maximum price, whatever their price was?
Yes, we did. Some of them were not design build. What you have here is a design build arrangement, which is really good because you get one person to point a finger at and say, go make it right, which is us. But there was a number of those that I mentioned were CM at risk. So that's where the owners hired the designer and then they've hired us as their builder. I would say we did the analysis, and I don't recall every number, but I can tell you that your fire station on a cost per square foot basis was more competitive than just about every other fire station we've delivered through a GMP
Because of
process. So, so because I remember the conversation with Cranston, he's calling me and says, okay, we're tight, we're trying to get everything down, and I'm like, well, let's look at what we've done these other stations for. And I believe my comment was, well, no, you don't need to do anything with your number. You're the best number we have in terms of a price per square foot. And yet we were able to do more. Cranston and Jeremy and team were able to continue to hone in and tighten up. So you have a very competitive price.
Are you finding with any of those 5 that you're coming into a point where the gross maximum price is, you might feel like it's going to be exceeded and you're going to have to come back and come to some terms on that, or are you holding the GMP?
I missed that. What was the question?
So my question was, of those 5 that you have a GMP, are you finding with any of them, because I don't know where you are in the build with it, but that you might be at a point where it's like, oof, we probably have a little numbers problem here, or regardless of what the numbers problem is, it's held to the GMP that we see written here, and that's what it will be?
I don't, I mean, as Cranston mentioned, we do have some contingency in the job. So, and
yes.
just about every one of our jobs have some level of contingency. We are constantly looking for, as we go to buy the job, how we can buy it more competitively and create what we call as buyout savings. That's your money. If we're able to create it, we push it aside and it becomes like a project contingency that everybody's aware of. It's all open book. So, but that's our goal. But we can't do that until we're authorized and we're approved to go make commitments to the trading subcontract partners.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Radzik?
I have an additional question. Sand skink testing is now. So what does that mean for you in getting started and getting a good sand skink return?
So that's one of the things that we looked at. And one of the things that we wanted to do is get the authorization to proceed. It is now. And we want to go ahead and get out there, make sure that we're, looking at the property, ensuring that there's none out there. I am keeping my fingers crossed, but we can't miss that window. And that's why we're asking for approval.
So, council, 2010 through 2012, we sold part of where the public safety complex is, which is now Tractor Supply. And we had a halfway decent price until they came back with sand skinks. And it cost us a little over $200,000. And that was, I don't know how much of a site that is in relation to what we're going to mitigation. I thought didn't know anything about them. I thought they were going to relocate them. No, that basically gives us the ability to build, and we give the DEP or whoever the $200,000 to put into their coffers. So that's just something that is going to be above and beyond what you got as a contingency, correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
Okay, just a few. The cost of finished square footage, you have some finished and unfinished. What are the costs of the per square foot of finished and the cost per unfinished?
So I know finished right now, our cost per square foot is $770 for the entire building. Unfinished, it's probably around $500.
It would be, obviously, it'd be less than that. We didn't really break the numbers out that way that I'm aware of.
I'm looking for more of the cost per square foot because we've got a lot of.
For the shell space?
Yeah, for the shell space and for the finished space. What are we getting charged?
So right now, overall, you're at $772. It's right there on the screen, $773. We're seeing $808, $820 for the ones that Tim is mentioning. So that's why we think we're very competitive. The shell space itself, it's probably around, I would say, 500. 500 is good, yeah.
Okay. Mr. City Manager, if we move ahead, where's the money coming from?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we had budgeted in our CIP. Is Pam still here? Yes, she's behind the podium. We had budgeted enough to get us to this stage. You passed the pre-authorization, which would allow us to start incurring expenses, and then we would go out for financing, a bank loan typically, and look at different rates and terms. We've had some internal conversations, but no final decisions about terms. That would have to come back to the mayor and council, but it's budgeted in the CIP to come from impact fees and infrastructure surtax.
And we have no impact fees right now to pay for. We have to go borrow it.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that's correct. We use the impact fees to get us to this point in the process. We are in the process of revising impact fees. You've already done it for your utility division, water, sewer, and other infrastructure. We're now doing it for admin, police, and fire, parks, and rec.
Okay. So is this part of the line of credit that we just passed? No?
No, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, that was for the utility work.
All right, thank you. Any further questions? All right, do we have a motion to accept 2025-25?
Make a motion to accept 2025-25.
We have a motion, second. Further discussion from the panel? No, any public comment? No, seeing no public comment. Let's go ahead and take the roll, please.
Carol, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gaines? Mayor Kehoe?
Aye. So, congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, thank you so much.
Okay, we've asked for a 5-minute recess, and we'll regain. Now, during the recess, remember, everybody that's here that wants to talk, please go back and fill out your forms so that we can get you up in orderly fashion to speak. Thank you. We'll do it at 8:23. Okay, everybody, let's move on to the next agenda item number 4, Avalon Development Agreement. As you remember from last week, I just asked the council, I passed out this paperwork and said, I'd really like to have a conversation. I'm not real comfortable with the contract as written. Purpose of tonight is to get familiar with the contract. If we have a consensus at the end, to bring it back to vote on any renegotiations or something that could happen next time. Can't happen this time because it's not on the agenda as a voting item, but more or less just a clarification. Once again, if you want to speak, you need to fill out a form and get it over here to Jenny for as we get to public comment. But we'll move forward. If I can, I don't have a clicker. If somebody can help me out with that. Thank you. Thank you. Excuse Avalon being spelled wrong. Let's go to the next. Do we have the QR codes, please? Both QR codes first. Okay, if you want to follow with the contract, this is the Economic Incentive Development Contract, and we'll be discussing it, and I'll be citing different pages and different numbers. If you want to follow along, go ahead and put that in your phone. And then we also have a second document, which is financial analysis that we might be referring to throughout the course of the evening. So you might want to take a snapshot of that. And if everybody's looking good here, we got it? Are we good? Okay, let's move on to the Avalon. First slide. Oh, I guess I can do that. Oh, no, I can't. Okay, Avalon project, this agreement, the first item that I'm concerned about, and we can take this through, and then I'm going to pass the gavel to the vice mayor because I can't officiate and answer questions and do it all. I'm just not that talented. I just want to concentrate on this. So, Vice Mayor, will you have the gavel? Will you keep order, please, throughout the presentation? So the first area of concern is on page 3, paragraph 5. And it says, this agreement shall apply to any after acquired properties contiguous to the property and consistent with the project. So what we're going to talk about tonight is not only for the project where we originally looked at, but any contiguous property they go ahead and purchase, the same benefits would apply to that contiguous property as well. The agreement will remain in effect for a period of 30 years. Also on page 3, paragraph 6. Well, I think that let's get through the first 3 slides, and then we can go back. That way, we might have answers in the slides. Next slide. The tax increment financing or incentive, the developer will be entitled to 50% of the TIF revenue generated by the project. That's on page 4 and paragraph 7. And do you all have the highlighted version so that you have that to go ahead and take a look at? As we look further, project will be eligible to receive 50% of TIF funds associated with corresponding phases for a period of 30 years. Sunset of the TIF incentive, 6 years of completion of the Highway 50 alignment. So this goes on 6 years past, and I don't want to get into what year that is right now, but it's down the road a little bit. The city manager may administratively approve 1 2-year extension, page 4, paragraph 7A. So let's go ahead and go back and discuss any concerns that you might have.
Yeah, clarification. The after acquired property contiguous to the property is a house. If you're looking at the juice factory property from State Road 19, the very next lot over is a lot that was not part of this agreement, that was purchased by Carabeo, knocked down, and that is the contiguous part. There's nothing else that would be contiguous.
Well, I mean, I'm kind of slow, and I would put that in the contract that way. Because right now, it could be Billy's Market, and then after Billy's Market, it could be Festival Park. After Festival Park, it's continuous. No definition of where that stops. And these TIF tax rebates and everything will go on to each succession of property. So if that's what's meant, we need to talk about how we put that in the contract. On the next, any thoughts on the 50%, or let's just get into the next one?
Go back to the 30 years. That is as of today. Anita Gerasi Carver, how does any potential change from the state saying that, 25 years they're going to sunset, what does that do for this agreement?
I don't think the proposed legislation is moving forward.
Oh, really? Okay.
The CRA, isn't it up for the next phase? I thought it was brought back on this extension.
It may be. I would have to look.
You really can't.
I didn't analyze it for purposes.
You can't tell us what's going to happen, whether or not this development agreement is null and void because it's not going to be 30 or otherwise. So we don't know that.
Correct.
Okay.
Isn't the expiration of our CRA already before the 30-year period ends?
61, right?
43 is what we were told in that whole, we had to sit through 4 hours. That could have been an email.
Ours, I think, is 2061, right? I think if I go back, Mr. City Manager, CRA, I've got it somewhere. I looked through it, but I think we're okay on that. It's just if they pass this law that says they stop in 2045, it's an issue because that's not the 30 years.
May I, if we can go back to that slide, sorry. We were talking about contiguous property, and just a question, contiguous means the properties are touching. The Avalon project would not actually be physically touching Festival Park. I mean, so like when you talk about the contiguous United States and so on. So Festival Park is across the street and down the way. I hope we're talking about, as Mike was talking about, the house that was there on the property. But I don't see that it's going to be jumping highways. And if somebody can clarify that for me, I would appreciate it, but I think that's the way contiguous is interpreted.
It states contiguous to the property, and property is defined as the 22.10 acres. So it's
Okay.
anything bordering that 22.1
Right, but
acres.
Festival Park does not border it, correct?
No, ma'am, it does
But
not.
all the property north and south, which is your, all the stuff along 50, all this stuff going the other way. would-
Understood. I just wanted to kind of get that a little bit more granular, that's all.
Yeah, thank you. Impact fee reduction, 50% reduction in impact fees. This is going to be a topic we're going to discuss quite a bit. The city will reduce the impact fees charged to the developer by 50%, including but not limited to water, wastewater, and connection fees, page 4, paragraph 7B, item 1. Application, the reduction will be applied directly at the time of impact fees due to and collected by the city. Paragraph 4, 7B. Where this comes in is, and I'm going to ask Mike to make sure that I'm saying this right, but if we give a 50% reduction on the impact fee into an enterprise system, our wastewater, the city has to make up that 50%. So our wastewater is a little over $13,000 of the impact fee. So $6,500 per unit times 535 units, a little bit over $3.5 million that the city will have to go ahead and replace into this fund, the wastewater fund. And I think I hadn't seen that before, and how we're going to pay for it and where's it going to come from. Granted, it may be that it's phased in, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, so the whole 3.5 million wouldn't be there, but certainly a fifth of it has to be paid immediately upon the giving of the impact fee reduction. So any discussion on that?
That was my understanding after talking to the city attorney today, is that you cannot waive impact fees. You need to basically make them up through your economic incentive line or any other type of source in the general fund.
So would we have the funds from the economic incentive line? Would we have the funds there?
So we put in our budget economic incentives and otherwise, okay? So it kind of, I know what you're saying. You're going to use an economic.
I'm just pointing out that they're nowhere near this scale, so.
Yeah. You're going to use an economic incentive budget to pay for an economic incentive. I know what you're saying.
So it comes out of the fund one way or another. 50% reduction in permit fees. City will reduce all city permit fees charged to the developer by 50%, including planning fees, engineering fees, water conservation fees, building permit fees, and fire fees. So application, the reduction will be applied directly at the time a permit is due and collected by the city. That's, what would that be, Mr. Maslow? Permit fees. If Mr. Griffiths got me today, I'll use his name. I'm sorry if he doesn't want me, and it's $128,000 permit fee for the garage that he's building. What would this permit fee be?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, is drawn up in the agreement. I believe it's a 50% reduction. That would be paid out of the building fund.
Which building fund is that? The 2.5 million that we've accrued from in your fund from the different fees that we charge?
The city's
Citizens?
building fund.
Yeah. For inspection, that comes from inspections, right?
Correct, yeah. Per the contract, 60% goes to Alpha Inspections, 40% goes to the city.
Okay. And that would take care of the 2.9 million, would take care of 500 and some odd apartments and commercial space?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have that analysis prepared for tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
But we're noting it.
We should get that analysis in case we go back and negotiate. We should have that in our back pocket. Expedited permitting, streamlined process, love it, that's fine. Brownfield redevelopment assistance. Brownfield redevelopment assistance, the city may, I guess that may is the good word there, with city council approval, provide matching funds or additional TIF revenues specifically earmarked for site cleanup activities on the property. Are we thinking that we're going to have to do that?
I like the word may that's in there, may, with city council approval. So at least this one doesn't guarantee anything.
So, Mr. Mayor, what I know about this, about Brownfield, is that a couple months ago, we designated the entire CRA as a Brownfield, which then allows us to go, or a owner of property to go to the state and try to get some grant monies. Is that correct, Anita?
It does open it up for additional funding that they can apply through the state.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. All for contingency through the state. Not too happy with additional TIF revenues going to it. You know, that comes off of our bottom line. Shared infrastructure costs. The city will reimburse the developer the cost of any off-site public infrastructure improvements requested by the city, such as road enhancements or utility upgrades. So will we have all the turn lanes and left-hand turn lanes and everything off of the highways, the new here and the bypass built in, so we don't have to go back and redo that? I know we just had one put up here on 30. It was almost $400,000 for a turn lane. We're going to pay for anything off the site, right?
Mr. Mayor, technically we have to see a pre-plat. There's a concept plan there, but typically we would require the developer to pay for the infrastructure to support the development.
Inside the development, I'm talking about, this says outside. This is Highway 50. This is anything coming in for across those properties we just talked about that's not part of their property, that we would pay for that, not the developer, in order for access and egress off of the state road to their property, correct?
Mr. Mayor, we would likely need that analysis as part of a development application to go through transportation consulting to look at specifics before we were able to answer that question.
At the time of city approval of the cost, the mechanism for reimbursement will be determined, which may include an additional percentage of TIF funds or direct financial reimbursement. Public amenities, if the project includes public amenities such as parks, plazas, or community spaces open to the general public, the city may provide additional funds or grants to support the development and maintenance of the public space areas. May is there. This one doesn't have with city council approval, though. Next area, concern marketing and promotion. We'll partner with a developer to promote project through the city marketing campaign, which may include joint advertising efforts, so on and so forth. I would be much more comfortable if it had a limit to that. What's the partnership and how much are we going to put in for the development and launch events for potential investors and community support? So if we go back, we need to have a ceiling on that so we don't get caught there.
So, Mr. Mayor, going back to that item, the city council can just as easily and with a little bit more bite put into our budget a line item that is not to exceed, and specifically, not this professional services and $200,000, but literally a line item that would restrict the amount of money that we would spend for a city marketing campaign.
For this particular thing? Okay, I would too. Thank you. Train depot. Preservation is of the utmost importance. No later than the issuance of a permit for vertical construction within 225 feet of any part of the train station, the developer will convey to the city via special warranty deed the land area underneath the train depot and a 10-foot perimeter buffer for landscape and hardscape improvements. The train depot must be deeded to the city within 60 days of the final plat. A couple concerns. If we don't get the train station pretty quick, we're not going to be able to go get grants, right? We won't own it. We can't go get grants. I don't know how we're going to pay for it. I know that in the negotiations and in the document called PFM, it says it's going to cost $4 million to do that, in this document, $4 million to do the train station. It's going to take us a little while to get there. So what was our theory on that? Is there wiggle room on that? Can we go back and renegotiate that?
During the city council meeting where this was approved, I remember people bringing up the train station, and I remember Mr. Radzik here arguing that we should keep the train station under any circumstance, and I don't feel like that is reflected in the contract. Maybe we need to go back over that audio and see exactly what was said, because I checked the minutes, and I'm not sure the minutes quite captured the spirit of what you were saying.
Well, can we just get through? Because I think it'll answer
Okay.
more of your questions. If I go to the next slide on page 6, paragraph 8, provided the city obtains funding, the city will refurbish the train station, the train depot, prior to the completion of construction and issuance of a certificate of occupancy on any building within the project. Next, if the city has not refurbished the train depot for an agreement with the developer has not been entered into prior to the certificate of completion of occupancy of any building within the project, then the city, via specialty warranty deed, will convey the property back to the developer with no requirements from the developer for the train depot, including its preservation. So this is, and you need to help me out here because I think you're asking the right question, is we can't get the train station until we have a vertical constructed wall or a plat, right? And then we have until the phase 1 will be within that area. That's 92 or 94 apartments in phase 1. It's one of the two. We have until those apartments go up to get the funding, to refurbish the train station, and it doesn't say who gets to determine if it's refurbished or not. It's not in there. And then if we don't hit all those, then the developer has the right to bulldoze it down. The developer, the train station, depot, including no requirements from the developer for the train depot, including its preservation. So this is a big point of contention because I know it's very passionate for a lot of people, and it's a landmark, and so I would like comment on that.
Can I add some specificity to two things? Amy Jo, halfway through item number 8, it says the historic train depot will remain in its existing location unless approved by the City Council and the Community Redevelopment Agency to be moved to an agreed upon location between the developer and city during the design development plans.
Yes, but just on that, there is a study from 2006 that says it cannot be moved.
Exactly.
So that's null and void.
I'm just
So-
saying, and she wanted to know about the movement of it, so I was just, giving her that.
No. I was saying that in that meeting, I remembered like us calling out this particular portion, and you said that you wanted it preserved. That's what I thought I remembered. Now, like I said, I'd have to pull the audio to get that.
Amy, I think I'm going to agree with you because, Mike, I think you put them on the spot and you were like, the train station stays, the train station's going to be refurbed. And it went on, and it wasn't a heated comment by any means, but it was between you and the principals from Avalon. And I'm sure if somebody goes back and listens to the recording, they were quite robust in their answer that absolutely we're not going to do anything to harm the train station. That's the impression I took from that meeting.
Well, you're right. I mean,
Yeah,
and the reason that I
because
was
you
so
brought it up
robust
and you were
about it
very pointed about
is
it.
trying to move that station, as the mayor said back in 2008, was going to result in a lot of money. They couldn't there was no structure
Right.
to do so.
But it wasn't just about moving it, like putting it, like moving an old house. It was that that the train station, when they said will stay, not meaning they were going to try to move it to a separate location, but the train station will stay, be refurbed, and so on. And that's my understanding of that conversation. I think, Amy, Joe, you and I might be kind of recalling that. I'm sure we can go
So
back
are we
and listen.
allowed to like just withhold their certificate of
The
occupancy until we're
principals were
done
very
refurbing
clear.
the
They were
train
very
station?
clear about it. I didn't take it as anything ambiguous.
To the timing of when this needs to be, meaning the train station would need to be completed. I have not seen and have only heard that there is 300 plus multifamily units and 34,000 square foot of commercial, not 550 houses or, okay.
I'll have that question. It's in here.
But that's fine, let me finish.
It's 535.
Let me finish. With that said, the first building will be a plaza. And by the time that the final plat gets to us, probably is not going to be much before the late 2026 because we have no application. We've got nothing before, the city to react. So your question or your comment before, the sooner we can get the train station, like tomorrow, gives us that much more time to get it done because Avalon does not want to see the train station in its current condition hamper the sellability of their project.
And I think that's why right now is a good time to renegotiate this whole thing. As we look at this photo, what is now considered the train station was not the train station that needs to be refurbished. And so as we go back, if we decide and have consensus next time around, we need to get the full train station because restoration of 60% of the train station probably isn't a good restoration. So, and then I understand that there'll be a variance issued for parking because 10 feet around won't give us any parking for people, and we need to kind of have that in a contract and not assumed as well if we go back.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
As a condition of any property, there is X amount of open space required, as I'm sure you know from your days on the P&Z. Mr. Maslow, my understanding was that this train station was going to suffice for the open space. Is that 10%, 20%, 30%?
Only if they paid to refurbish it.
Well, regardless, there is open space that's required. If it's not the train station, it's got to be someplace else. But this was intended to be part of the open space as it is now.
That's the intent. The code and your comp plan requires 15% of the overall site plan to be allocated to one of our open space types. Urban Plaza is one of those types. If you took the refurbishment of the train station plus the area around it into an urban plaza with a historic significance and restoring to it its historic integrity of the building, you could enter into an agreement to provide credit for that open space if the developer is willing to pay for the whole project.
So should that be in the contract?
I'd have to defer to our city attorney for contract stipulations.
Okay. No later than the issuance of the first vertical construction doesn't necessarily mean an apartment either, right? The permit for the first vertical construction within any permit for any vertical construction triggers this, correct?
It has to be in order to qualify for the incentive, it has to be a vertical mixed-use multi-story building. A permit for the train station would not qualify for that.
I'm talking about on the whole property. If they put up I don't know, a place to park their doggone construction equipment, vertical, it need a permit? No, it doesn't.
That wouldn't qualify for the incentive.
Would it qualify for the issuance of a permit? What I'm getting at here, Mr. Maslow, is that we have a lot of assumptions, and I've sat in several meetings lately with contracts where there was assumptions that came back and bit us. And if we say that's what needs to be, then that's what needs to be in the contract. That's my input. That's just the same thing. Representation of warranties is not subject to any public policy or police power. That's fine. Financial impact. This is where I need some help, okay? Tax revenue, as stated, and we'll get into this, it's a very interesting document, is $25 million based on the 50% reduction in TIF tax. $50 million, $25 million is rebated to them over 30 years, which is $833,000 a year, right? And those 30 years start in, was it 2027 in the contract, 2027?
I believe it's once the building is constructed.
I'm just looking at this. Yeah, from 2020, that's what all your tables are based on, 2027, right? Maximum population, just like 3.1 persons per unit. I was told that's way too high. And so I went back and checked. You know what the unit average is in Avalon and Orlando? 3.1. But anyway, we went ahead and Groveland mandated by charter to have 2.4 officers per 1,000. Currently, Groveland has 2 officers, a little under per 1,000. These are the assumptions that I used below in the maximum, which is 2.4 officers per 1,000 times 3.1 for the, and it is 535 apartment suite. We'll look at that in just a second. Is $789,000 of expense. If the minimum amount, which is only 2 people per unit instead of 3.0, and we have, that means 1,070 population times 2, which is the current minimum that we use, then it's $219,000. Does that sound logical to you? Because I'm just trying to get to this 833,000 that we are going to get from taxes and see how this balances out. So if we can remember that 789 or 219.
Let's go back, Mr. Mayor.
I feel like we need to use whole numbers for officers because I'm not sure how you get 1.7 or 3.8 out of people.
Isn't that where you're at now? You cut us down to 1.7, isn't it? Yeah, we had the presentation. That's where I took that from. Yeah.
So this entire slide is based on 535 living units, which you got from the existing DA. It is now someplace a little over 300 living units, but you don't know that. We don't know that. There has been nothing presented. But let's just say that that's the case, and everything else on this metrics is not exact. Number 2, we've known for the last several years, federal guidelines that Chief Ramsey has told us is 2.4 officers per 1,000. We are already understaffed based on that. This Avalon project has nothing to do with needing extra officers because we need them now.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get off on that. I'm just using a maximum and a minimum to try to get to a cost.
But let's get new numbers. Because you can't go by that because you got 535. So I think we're going to need to have a fluid document.
All I have is the documents that we have, that the decision was made on, that the council voted on. Yep. And I'm just saying we need to take a look at this. Whatever is out there in the stratosphere on 300 or whatever, this document, which we'll get into in a second, it says this is what it's going to be.
I agree.
If it's different, then we'll go back and take a look at it.
Yep, I agree.
Personnel operating budget, fire department. I thought this was pretty interesting. Oh, the firemen guys, they all left. Doggone it. 6.9 million. 6.9 million for operating budget, does not include any of the capital or anything like that. 25,000 residents. You know, we have 23. I wanted to raise it to 25 just to be fair. $278 per resident, and if you take that labor and multiply it out. So with those two same things, 1,070 or 1,605, that's 478,000 or 297,000. So now get where I'm coming from. We're at 888. We've taken away this much. We've taken away this much.
going back,
Uh-huh.
again, you are maybe not using really good data since the fire truck was commissioned 3 years ago or more before Avalon, and the fire station has been in plans before Avalon. So to go ahead and say that, oh, we have all this extra cost, no, that was already contemplated.
Again, I'm sorry if the words don't mean, figures do not include capital. 9 million for the fire station, 2.1 million for the truck.
And it should.
That is just, no, I just want to go operating.
Yep.
I just want to go operating because those should cover by impact fees.
Correct.
But we're not getting these impact fees, but I mean, should be covered by that. So I'm back to 478 and 297. Plant rehab, hey, I don't know if this is right, but we're rehabbing the wastewater treatment plant. Only half of it is paid for by the current because, you know, we've got to rehab it. We've been using it. So the new side, 7/16 or something size that we're doing is, I just threw it in at 40 million. Hey, let's don't even talk about that. That's too much money. Financials, wastewater, police, fire on one side, tax revenue, deficit of 554,000 on the other side. Hey, if everything is lead, we keep the police, we keep everything real low, and we only have 1,070 people in that apartment complex. We made 231,000, and the midpoint is a loss of 161. But don't forget, let's amortize the $3.5 million that we have to give back out of the building fund in there over the 30 years to see where that comes from. Clawback, got a problem with the clawback because we only claw back if they don't do the whole project. They do phase 1 and don't start phase 2. We have no clawback. All this was based on economic incentives. We don't have to give them their money back. If they start phase 2 and don't complete phase 2, then the permitting and all that, they have to give back to us. But if they don't start phase 2, we don't have to. So if it's not completed, I got a problem with the whole economic package. This is just the service fee that we talked about earlier. Acquired property. Oh, PFM memorandum. Now, I thought this was something that said that the finances came out right. But what this memorandum is a memo is intended to inform and support the city of Groveland on certain financing considerations related to proposed tax increment from the Cabio project. And what they did, if I'm not mistaken, and I read this right, we gave PFM what the developer gave us and told PFM to tell us if it was a good deal or not. And now, I don't see anywhere in this document that we're giving them 50% off on everything, you know. But I do go through and I see things like that there's a pharmacy. I remember seeing the structures, right? The pharmacy, a bank, a fast food category, a strip mall, a small grocery store, an auto repair shop, a dental, an urgent care, need that urgent care, multi-family commercial. Now, this is right off of here that says 530 apartments, so I'm sorry if my figures are off. But those are the commercial, and it actually shows it in the overall map that maybe we can distribute later. It doesn't look like that, that photograph that I've seen. PFM memorandum, again, this is where a lot of that 25 million, this is the taxes that come from, I didn't even include that in the residential cost. Conclusion, PFM has not had the opportunity to discuss the project with the developer regarding the tax incremental revenue. So it wasn't discussed. Got an issue there. PFM has reviewed iteration, performa, onward and onward, and we can talk about the 44% incremental revenues it will generate with scenario B, which is the 530. But simple math tells me if you get 44% incremental increase in taxes and you give back 50%, you can't make it up in volume. So that's what I wanted to discuss. We don't have to get into any of the how it was done, but I would really like to have some conversation from this group on, and if we should renegotiate this contract to the benefit of the public. I am not at all, don't get me wrong, I'm not at all against the project. I'm against us subsidizing it. What triggered that in my heart was when, if all of you remember, when the head of this project got up and I asked him point blank, is this a financially viable project without all these incentives? His answer was no. I would never invest a penny of my money or your money in something that didn't make financial sense. So with that, I will, Madam Vice Mayor, if you could take the questions, and I'll be glad to.
Do we have any questions? Jen Eastridge.
There you go. Jen Eastridge, my address is protected. So this stack is those petitions that we had pushed around. There's over 1,000 of them in here, and that was collected after the hurricane, which the time frame that we had to collect these included when the hurricane had hit us. So if we're going back into some of these points that you had hit, the impact fee reductions, isn't it a part of your guys' agreement with the grants coming through the state of Florida that as soon as an impact fee is collected, that it has to automatically go towards the loan that we're getting from the state? Meaning, if we're giving 50% off, the city has to give the other 50% because the state doesn't care. They want their money back, right? Okay. The next one, permit fee reduction by 50%. Alpha Inspection gets 60% of our permit fee. So if the permit's $100, Alpha Inspections is going to stand there with his hand out for $60. But we're giving them 50% off. So where's the other $10 coming from? Oh yeah, that's the taxpayers. Cool. Incentives, 50% off of their taxes for 30 years. My daughter will be in her 50s. Okay, I may be a great grandmother by the time we pay this thing off. That's disgusting, you guys. All right. And then let's talk about the train depot. Words matter. Yes. The way that's written, the developer is going to bulldoze it. There's no other way around it. You can't get grants, you can't get financing, you can't get anything until you own it. And it's building vertical within, 225 feet? So who says they don't throw up a sales office? That's not a complete apartment building. You can get a certificate of occupancy in 6 months on a sales. Can we flip a train station in 6 months? There's no way. We're not even going to be able to get the financing in 6 months. So we've got the general fund paying for everything. I know that that was the consensus of the last council, is that, oh no, none of it's coming out of the general fund. Yes, it is. Stop lying. And the train station is going to get demoed. So I think it's great that we're going to go ahead and renegotiate this thing, because the citizens of Groveland are facing having to raise our taxes because of bad judgment calls from the last council. I'll leave these up here for visual. Thank you.
Oh, come on. Somebody else got to talk.
They can talk. They can look at all of these.
I don't want to hide
it's beautiful.
people.
Do you see all of it? All right.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I'm sorry.
Yes. Keith Breedlove.
Keith Breedlove, 154 Bonnie Coast. And what I have to say, Mr. Mayor, council members, Mr. Hine, She stole some of my thunder. So, sorry, but I do have some talking points that I would like to leave with you to have put into the minutes. May I distribute them? Or- I wanted to talk about the train station. Okay, there are a couple of benefits to the city. It's a desired amenity that the city wants. The train station must be well over 100 years old now, and from a historical perspective, I think everyone probably wants it. It could be the potential core of an urban plaza if that fits within the developer's design and the land under it becomes city property. But there are some significant pitfalls. The current agreed 10-foot buffer around it is inadequate for parking, and city code requires more space than that, possibly another 19 feet around it to handle parking. There is a refurbishment plan at $4 million, so I made that correction. But then what's its intended use? Is it going to be a city museum? Is it going to be a commercial space, ice cream shop, something like that? 9 to 12 months lead time for historical restoration grants, and you can't apply for the funding before you own the property. And does the city have qualified and experienced grant writers to make sure that it's likely to be approved? The duration of the refurbishment is unknown. It has to be completed before the certification of occupancy of any building, which she mentioned a sales office. I was thinking property manager's office. Same thing, throw up a property manager's office in just a couple of months and refurbishment not done. There is a lot of risk with that, because if it doesn't get completed within the constraints of the agreement as written, then the developer can knock it down and we have nothing. And if the developer agrees to perform the refurbishment, this will satisfy all the open space requirements for the whole project, which is that possibly going to encroach on some of the strategic plan for open space? What are the unintended consequences? Bottom line, I think it's risky and a bad deal for the city. Thank you.
Yes. Philip Fulmer.
Philip Fulmer, 18500 Watercress Court, Groveland. Mine's going to be short because I think you covered most of it in your thing and the other ones, but I did want to make a few statements. Matching things that just blew my mind. Matching funds for the cleanup of their project. It's their project. Let them clean their mess up after they're through. And every project I ever been a part of, they fined me if I didn't have it cleaned up by a certain time, and we're going to pay them and reimburse them to clean their project up. I just don't understand that. When I developed Carol Fulmer, we developed our place right here, we didn't get any incentives. We got nothing paid for we paid for everything. We actually paid for the road that is our driveway now, but it is a city or a county road, and the retention pond, which sits on county property, we paid for it. We paid for it and gave it back to the city afterwards. As far as the train station, I think everybody hit on that. I tried to buy that train station from the city about 15 years ago because I was going to make it into a train museum for my grandson who collects trains, and the city wouldn't sell it to me. So I'd like to see it preserved. I don't know that it's going to get that way. I agree it's probably going to get torn down because I don't know how you can live up to this. At the end, I guess what I would say is I just wish on my next project I get the lawyer that Avalon had, because he got the keys to the city. Thank you.
Dorian Givens.
My name is Dorian Givens. I live at 5080 Pinedale Drive, and I live in Mascot. And you covered a lot of things in the train depot slide, but I just want to add some stuff on. Like, I'm the Groveland Founders Day Essays winner for 2024 and 2025, 2 years now, and I've lived in this area for 14 years since I was born. And I would like to speak on a portion of my last essay where I said transportation is something that many people take for granted. While some people think of it as a blessing, but most people don't think about the history on how it got here. And I think this is why we should preserve the historical train station in Groveland, which has contributed to the transportation industry through Central Florida and other parts of the world. The arrival of the Sanford and St. Petersburg's line of the Orange Belt Railroad brought more settlers to Groveland, which brought many different people to help contribute to the Groveland we know today. The trains hauled lumber, citrus, watermelons, and farm produce, as well as investors and farmers from the north. And at the northwest corner of Highway 50 and 19, the depot is still there. I've taken an interest in Groveland and the rich history through writing essays in each year for the contest, while also being able to travel around town and observe these historical markers. It would be tragic for future generations to not be able to see an important part of their local history. Alongside that, preserving the depot is significant to many of us, as it is why we are here today. The depot also serves as a marker and token of remembrance for the settlers and builders of Groveland who gave us the opportunity to share the city of natural charm. And part of that natural charm comes from preserving our historical landmarkers. I hope you have taken into consideration the points I've been made. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Winning twice, winning the essay contest twice. It's quite an accomplishment. Thank you. For the Groveland Historical Society. Yeah.
Young man, I just want to say thank you because it takes a lot of nerve for people to come forth and do public speaking. So thank you so much for coming up and sharing your thoughts with us.
Robin Hoover.
Robin Hoover, 1387 Ardmore Road, Groveland, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, staff, constituents. I'm actually speaking on Dan Corsi tonight on behalf of Dan. He was not able to attend this evening. So these are his words that I'm getting ready to speak. Strategic plan, intentionality. Culture isn't accidental. We have to decide what part of our culture we want to intentionally highlight as Groveland's identity. A city deeply rooted in its agricultural economic past, but ready to make improvements for livability and economic growth. The depot is a big part of that, along with the bypass, South Lake Trail connection, and the new city hall. We are at a crucial point in our development as a city where we can creatively highlight that identity that already exists, or take the risk of losing it and becoming just a place to live that's cheaper than Claremont. Property values and in turn tax revenue for continued growth relies on the city protecting its natural charm and preserving its rich history. If we fail at preserving the depot and many of the other historic buildings, we send a clear message to potential future residents and businesses that we don't prioritize the culture that makes Groveland so unique. So those were Dan's words tonight to the dais. Myself, I'm not going to repeat what's going to be repeated by everyone tonight, but the one thing that no one talks about is after we obtain this, where is that budget for operational funds? Who's going to manage it? How are we going to do it after the fact? No one's discussed that at all. Thank you.
Banks Helfrich.
Farmer Banks Helfrich, Clay Road District, South Lake County. Farm tip of the day. I'll get into the weeds with you all. Mayor, council, distinguished guests, I am here as a member of the Groveland Historical Museum Society. My dues are up, all right? I paid them up. Okay, good. I would like to begin talking about Winter Garden. quaint little town, a bike and walking trail that runs through it, a historical museum, a Central Florida Railroad Museum, the Yellow Caboose in the middle of town, a heritage foundation in their actual train station. So what exactly is a train station, a train depot? It's a hub of people coming together to say hello and goodbye. It is hugs of leaving and coming. A train station can also be a museum, a historical museum of, say, Taylorville and Groveland. Because our history is how we honor our past, how we honor ourselves, we have a chance to honor a living embodiment of our history. That train depot, which is right over there, about 300 yards, is a physical connection to our past. So let's hold on to that past and restore an honorable place of remembrance. Let's do what it takes to keep history in our city and save that train depot. I am Farmer Banks Helfrich. May you all be blessed. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Yes, Ken Averett.
My name is Kenneth Averett. I live at 235 East Sunset Street in Groveland, Florida. I had no intention of speaking tonight, but I saw something that sort of bothered me. It was a flyer that's been going around about the train station. That's one of the last pieces of history that we've got. And the city council in this city has done everything conceivable to destroy all of the history. I went personally to this gentleman over here, second seat, and asked him to be sure that they did not tear down the little fishing dock that was down here on the lake. That was hand-built by an old man that had a home where the city park is now. Well, he failed because the next couple of days it was gone. Now, if they're going to keep on tearing down stuff, at least go into a contract you've read. It says on this flyer that according to page 6, paragraph 8 of the contract with these people over here, the city will refurbish the train depot prior to completion of construction and issuance of a certificate of occupancy of any building that is constructed on that construction site. Now, I'm not the sharpest guy in the world, but I can tell you right now, it seems to me like if I wanted to enforce this contract, I'd go build me a guard shack out front, get a CO on it, city, come up with your contract, give us your quitclaim deed, and you'd have to do it. Because somebody on the prior city council did not bring their brains with them to work. They didn't read the contract. We paid them a fair amount of money to do that. But somebody was responsible for sharing that information with the council, and they did not do it. So it looks like they've got you over a barrel. And if they decide that they want it, it's theirs. So when you think about how well you serve the city of Groveland, think about how well you serve the city of Groveland, because I'm beginning to doubt. But I can tell you one thing, I will be very active in the next election, very active. and you got a skeleton, you better hide it good, because I'll find it. But I want you people to pay attention to this young lady's efforts to go out and collect the signatures that she did collect. It looks to me like you got a little opposition according to that stack of papers. So I'd like to see you people get that kind of a stack of papers saying you're doing a good job. But always remember, it doesn't matter where you go to. Whenever you land and take up residence, their history is your history. From then on. Now, what kind of a mark do you want to make in it? You want to protect it? You want to destroy it? But we keep destroying history, we will have nothing to fall back on. And those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it, because every idea seemed like a pretty good deal till they did it, and then they had to eat it, and they don't taste good, because I've done that. And it's awfully hard to stand up in front of a bunch of people and apologize to them for not doing what they trusted you to do. This is not New Jersey. It's never going to be New Jersey, thank God. And it's not Detroit or Chicago, and we don't want it to be. So let's try to put it together. And one other thing I wanted to draw your attention to. There was a big flap about the mural on the front of this building. Somebody started a rumor that Willis McCall was in that picture, which was wrong. He wasn't. But one of the people who was in that picture was L.D. Edge, who is...
You can't hear, but they're telling you your time is up. Your time is up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. It's another thing. The ADA system in the back room ain't working. But like I was going to tell you, L.D. Edge was the youngest, yet the youngest, serving state senator in the state of Florida. Something that we're proud of.
Yes. Jason Brown.
Hi, I'm Jason Brown, 4222 Simon Brown Road, Groveland, Florida. And first off, as a Groveland city property owner, I would like to know who I need to talk to get these kind of discounts when I want to get a permit to build on my property, and how I get mine floated to the top of the stack as well. So I appreciate that information. And now I'd like to put on my president hat for the Groveland Historical Society and Museum. And I just want to give y'all some background. If y'all don't know, my second great-grandfather, Simon Brown, is one of the first people here in 1870, and the first name of Groveland was Brown's Ford, named after him. And if it were not for this train depot and the railroad that came through here, Groveland would be about 2 miles north of here. So I don't think y'all realize the importance of the train depot and how it created Groveland. It was a hub that showcased the economic and agricultural community that we have here. And the whole reason the downtown is built here and it's grew the way that it did is because of the success of the train, the railroad, and the depot that is here. And I'd just like to, if y'all looked at that picture that the mayor showed on one of the slides, you can see the length of the depot is much longer. With that, if we did truly refurbish, if the city refurbished it, it would have to be an additional, 40, 50 feet on the west side that would be needed for land to extend the depot, to truly preserve it and bring it back to the majesty that it had. And again, with the 10 feet around, I just don't know that that would be sufficient. And again, for the west side to extend it, that would be necessary. As the comment on the agreement, I don't know any agreement that I've seen that's more vague in its wording than the agreement that we have with the society, which was just, okay, you can have the building for a while. That's our agreement there. And like I said, I've seen nothing more vague than I have seen in this agreement. The wording is, there's really no guarantee that this stuff is going to, or the museum, the depot and the property is going to remain with the city. And I really suggest renegotiating this with the developer. If they're really adamant about preserving this structure, then why not guarantee it flat out to the city and say, here's the property, free and clear, refurbish it? Why have these take-back clauses and all these ifs, ands, and buts that timelines, the city has this amount of time to do this and this amount of time to do that, or they're taking it back? There's no way that, with the other people have spoken of it as well, there's no way that we can get the grants and the funding and everything that would be needed, and just the time for the construction of the refurbishment. The wording is so vague, we don't know what the totality of the refurbishment is going to be, what percentage of refurbishment has to be done before they say they're going to take it back. And just for those that don't know, the building, the train depot, was promised to the museum over a decade ago to use as the museum building. I know with discussions that now that's probably not going to happen, but in the instance that it does, if the building was given to us as a museum, and we have some donations that were given way back then to help restoring it. So if the museum does give that money to the city and we work together to help restore this building, and then it goes back to the developer, all those donations that the museum has given would be lost. So there's major issues here. I just think it's really needs to be renegotiated. Get the wording accurate, get it very strict, get rid of the vagueness, and just make a guarantee there that it is going to remain with the city. Give them sufficient time, or give y'all sufficient time to get grants, get funding, and get it refurbished. Thank you.
All for that particular item.
I had submitted one of those. My name is Dan Anderson. Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, Dan Anderson, 230 Silver Maple Road. I had written a letter dated May 7th to the Mayor and Council titled Impact Fee Reduction Provision of Avalon Groveland Development LLC Agreement. I was going to read it into the record, but I think we need to focus on more important issues. Somebody has mentioned that the 50% elimination of impact fees can be offset by a contribution from the general fund into the utilities fund. Now, if and only if 100% of that revenues from the general fund going into the utilities fund is generated from the Avalon development, then my tax dollars and everybody else's tax dollars who are existing residents are subsidizing the impact fee forgiveness. You have seen me appear before you probably half a dozen times. I'm not going to pound my fist on the podium, but I will say again, growth must pay for growth. That's the whole notion of impact fees. There was one sentence in my letter, I'm going to read that into the record, section 5.02. This is from our wastewater loan that we have with the state through the SRF loan program. Section 5.02, no free service. The local government shall not permit connections to or furnish any services afforded by the utility system without making a charge therefor based on the local government's schedule of rates, fees, and charges. It doesn't say 50% of the rates, fees, and charges. It says the rates, fees, and charges. So what I would do to protect ourselves if we're thinking of giving back half of the impact fees is to get an opinion letter from the state attorney's office that's in charge of the SRF loan program, getting their blessing that making that switch is legal. So once again, the enterprise fund is where we all pay for the utilities that we receive. Impact fees are designed to pay for the ratable share of the cost of the capacity expansion to serve new growth. And new growth darn sure ought to be paying for its fair share of that capacity. And with that, it's past my bedtime, so I'm going to head on home. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Would you make sure, please, Mr. Anderson, that we have your contact information? Thank you so much. Anyone else, Jim?
Not for that item, Vice Mayor.
Just taking it all in. Thank you.
I've got a few. All right. I just want to say there's too many instances when we look at this contract when people are telling us what the intent was. When you're looking at a legal contract, you shouldn't have to decipher what the intent is. The word should say that. Because in 6 years, when they start building this, there's no guarantee that any of us will still be here. So it can't be somebody needs to explain what the intent behind it was. It needs to actually say that. So I think that's a huge issue. It's overly vague. It's up for interpretation. There's a couple of times that we were discussing what people meant behind what it actually says, but it can be taken a lot of ways, and that's not okay. When it says any, and we specifically meant one thing, well, it says any. Words matter. That's it.
At the next meeting on renegotiating, sitting with the Avalon people and renegotiating this contract and go over our concerns with them. But we'll discuss that in detail with Mr. Hine because we need to determine who will do that. But sit back. I'd just like to make a motion to bring it back, put it on the agenda, bring it back for a vote at the next meeting.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mayor, do you have any comments? Councilwoman Carroll?
I'm good now.
Councilwoman Fike?
I'm good.
Councilman Razik?
I'd like to know what it is that you're wanting to vote on. You want to bring the yellow highlights that you had there, you want to bring that back for a discussion?
No, we've discussed it. I want to bring it back for action. And the action would be to go back to the Avalon people and express all these concerns that we have within this contract to see if there's room to move and get this language really, really concise. And you know as well as I do, none of us, they're not even going to start building for another 3 years, right? And who knows who's going to be here in 3 years. And this is way, way too squirrely, in my opinion. And there's stuff on here, I don't know if you've gone through it, that says there's going to be a $24,000 or $20,000 civic hall and civic complex. I just sat in a presentation that said it was $45 million instead of 20. We have $4 million for the restored. It's just a lot of stuff in here that this thing was based on. It's our problem. It's nobody's problem before us. It's our problem. We have different information than what's in this document. This thing was voted on. We need to bring it back to the principals and find out if there's any room to renegotiate any of this.
Mayor, to clarify, then your motion is for Anita to move forward in taking this back. when you say we, but,
We have to vote.
well, no, but I think that, is that the motion just clarify your motion for me.
Clarify the motion to place this on the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
To bring it back at the next meeting.
Thank you.
For a vote on moving forward for clarification with the principles of the Avalon contract.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Ms. Gaines, my comments are completely understandable, where many of you have got questions because you weren't part of the negotiations and or the development of the agreement, so I completely understand you all wanting to know more information. Reality says that Avalon has signed a joint venture and they got a standing development agreement. What are the chances that Avalon are going to go ahead and say, oh yeah, let's renegotiate? However, the one item that I think, and all this is important to you all and to me, I'm not downplaying that, but the one item that we should concentrate on almost immediately is to see if Avalon and the joint venture will expedite the turning over of the train station, because that would help them in getting that train station refurbished in time for them to go ahead and put up their first building. It's going to affect it. It gives us more time to get grant monies, how much is going to cost, and is it viable? So, I think at the very least, that needs to be done either simultaneous to 2 weeks from now, or 3 weeks from now, or starting tomorrow. So that's where my head is at, is, what is really logical going to happen on a signed agreement and a joint venture that's been signed between Avalon and whatnot.
May I speak? I would disagree wholeheartedly. I think we go back and renegotiate the whole thing. You don't go in and piecemeal out what they like and what we like. This thing was adopted because we gave, according to this document, we gave this group their idea of what the contract should be. This group said, okay, it can be financed. There's a lot of stuff in here that never existed. Never existed. I don't know who put this together and who got with PFM, but there is not going to be any $20 million civic center over there. There's not going to be a lot of stuff in here that they base this stuff on. It's totally fictitious. We go in and start at the top and we go down. And that's the way you negotiate. The leverage is the train station. You don't give that away and then go back and ask for, and I think there are some legal points. I asked a group to take a look at it. There's something Christian, something, there's some legal things that the intent versus what we really got that I'll pass on from them. But no, we go in and renegotiate the whole thing and come out with either we do it or we don't. And I'll tell you the other thing, they can have all the world they want, but if they have, what's their damages right now? What's their damages right now? That's what I'd like to know, because they're not going to start building. I have no idea why we had to vote this in 3 years before they're going to start building. But God bless them. There's not a lot of damages to be taken back if we have to end up going somewhere and defending this city. So now is the time to do it? Absolutely. Because either way, we're going to give away $3 million. Okay, we said that right now already. So. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay, from day one, when this was proposed, I love the Avalon concept, but from day one, when this was proposed, it was almost like Ray Charles could see and Stevie didn't have to wonder, because it just felt wrong to me that the city was giving, and I do mean giving, a lot away. So I was the only one from day one that stood against it. I am not against developers. I am not against enhancing our community, our quality of life, and all of those things. But I too believe that we do need to go back prior to the acquisition of the train station and start brick by brick and coming to an agreement that is palatable to each and every one of us. Thank you.
I was wondering if you were going to give that back. You did such a great job. Thank you so much.
We didn't vote.
We need a vote on the motion.
Oh, we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
Just let it go.
Further public comment over? No further public comment, right?
Do I ask for the vote or does he ask for the vote?
You asked for the vote.
Procedurally, the vice mayor should, but to move
I made
things
the
along.
motion.
We're going to take a vote. Councilwoman Fike.
Mayor Kehoe.
Oh, I'm
calls the
sorry,
vote.
Jenny. I'm
It's
trying to
okay.
do your job.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody's job
He's
tonight.
in charge.
Okay.
Kehoe, how do you vote? Mayor Kehoe, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Carroll?
Aye.
Councilmember Fike?
Aye.
Councilmember
Up until the point where I was hopeful to get the train station moving now, but the mayor is against it, my vote is no.
Okay. Vice Mayor Gaines?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carry, hit it. Say motion carries.
Oh, what?
Hit
Oh.
it. Thank you. Very nicely done. Nice. Okay, next on the agenda, public comment. Do we have further public comment?
Jen Eastridge, my address is protected. So something came to light, and I wanted to go ahead and submit some questions to each and every single one of you. The residents of Groveland would like honesty, transparency, and some answers. So I'm going to go ahead and read these into the record. What was the start date and termination date of Jasma Owens? How many times was Jasma Owens transferred into different departments? Can the city confirm or deny that Jasma Owens was found to have used the city's P card to purchase a body cam without consent and or approval of her supervisor? Who was Jasmine Owens' direct supervisor when the body camera was purchased? How many employees asked Jasma Owens to stop recording them during work hours? How long did it take from the date of the purchase of said body cam for the supervisor to be aware of the unauthorized purchase? When was Dio made aware that the city employee was walking around with an active body cam? When was Dio aware that the body cam was purchased on the city's P card? When was Mike Hine made aware that the employee was walking around with a body cam? When was Mike Hine aware that the body cam was purchased on the city's P card? If Dio and Mike Hine were found to have allowed this behavior, wouldn't they also be criminally liable as well? Because the body cam was purchased with city funds and was recording city actions, wouldn't that also make everything recorded public records? Has Jenny had a chance to file the footage for future public records requests? What are we doing to ensure that Jenny is not going to be in violation with Florida statutes regarding public record deadlines? Why was Jasma allowed to videotape behind-the-scenes city functions for 90 days before her termination? Was termination proceedings regarding the unauthorized transaction ever discussed? And if it was, with whom? How many times was Jasma asked to turn over the body cam? Has the city recovered the body cam? Has the city recovered the body cam footage? Has the city reviewed the body cam footage? Was there any private information, examples, resident account numbers, resident socials, resident or city banking information collected? Was there any sensitive information at all? Was the body cam footage ever uploaded onto a private server? Was the body cam footage ever altered in any way? Was Miss Owen smart enough to turn off the body cam every single time she went to the restroom? Or now are we talking about digital voyeurism with some of our city employees? Oh, and by the way, we're 6 weeks in and I still haven't heard about alpha inspections, but we're paying somebody inside the city to go ahead and look into that, right? Okay, cool, thanks.
Thank you, thank you. More public comment?
There is Jeanette Underwood. She had to leave, but she would like someone to contact her regarding the splash pad.
Okay.
So we have her
Will do.
contact info.
Okay, that concludes public comment. Now, board reports. Ms. Fike?
I have it on my phone. I've left the printed copy at home, so bear with me while I pull it up. Okay, so on the 8th of May, the mayor, myself, vice mayor attended the Integrity Christian Academy end of school carnival. It was a great day. It was a lot of fun with the kids. They had all kinds of bounce houses and food, and the seniors came out. We got to congratulate all the children coming out, and then the seniors came out. We applauded them. All of them have applied to college, though they have yet to hear their responses. On the 9th, I was at the Lake League of Cities luncheon. Legislators were on recess between budget battles, so Senator Trudeau, Taylor Yarkovsky, I got that misspelled, sorry, and House members Nan Cobbs and Richard Gentry attended the luncheon, and they took questions and answers from the local leaders. It was a good, robust afternoon. On the 10th, I was driving past the Taylorville Cemetery, and I saw that there was an Eagle Scout project going in, so I popped in because I was kind of curious. Met a young man, Joseph Romanello. I don't know if there's a picture of him on here or not. Anyway, he's doing his Eagle Scout project, and they were cleaning the headstones there. They were cleaning the weeds out of the seashells. It was quite a robust operation. Really tickled, well-spoken young man. Gave me some tips to pass along to Chief Carroll about how to keep the weeds out of the shells and to brighten them, and you can spray them with vinegar in case somebody wants that information at home. Popped by the farmer's market, got my favorite sourdough bread, and then I headed up to Howie in the Hills for the 100-year Founders Day celebration. Big celebration, had a good time. Ran into Banks there, I'll give him a little shout out. He's probably already gone. Lots of food, saw Sean Parks there, and just had a really genuinely good day. Oh, there's a picture of Sean. It was a lot of fun. Spent Mother's Day at Hope International Church, very uplifting service. Dr. McCoy was on fire. But he prayed for moms, and he kind of had a sermon around take the lead on your children and guide them down the right path. He celebrated all the moms. He acknowledged there was an 85-year-old mom in the audience that he acknowledged, and then the youngest was a 25-year-old mother, and then, of course, Principal Odom was recognized as the mom to the student population. I went to Horses with a Mission. Great morning. Mike Hine tagged along. We had a great time. We were there for the riding session for two twin brothers. It was fun to see them interact with the horses they were on. Their dad's a volunteer at the ranch. Horses on a Mission, much like many of our local resources, ministries, call it what you will, are always looking for volunteers. You can find that link on their webpage. From there, I went to the neighborhood center of South Lake. And thanks to Trish Cry for spending her time with me. Amazing operation they have. They're absolutely amazing. Again, they're always looking for volunteers. We had a council retreat on the 19th. It was a great interactive day. We got to learn a lot about each other. And then we broke down the strategic plan of then and now. I went to the chamber breakfast. I'd like to congratulate Ann Dupree. She won the Gem of the Hills Award. Pardon me? Yeah, again. The 1 Million Cups organization was there, which is a dynamic weekly gathering that supports small business owners through peer-to-peer engagement, strengthening entrepreneurs, and building a resilient local economy. And if Banks was here, he has been trained, I don't know if that's the right word, that he can now be a 1 Million Cups volunteer to get people to drink their coffee. Later that day, I met with Pastor Bloom, with Ashley. He's got his Latin Festival coming up in the fall. And then he and I met with Matthew Hill, They're building a joint effort for the Latin Festival. It was a great afternoon getting together with them and making sure that they, as I say, local leaders, matched up to be able to work together on both of the Jerk Festival's coming up in June, so that's right around the corner. Pastor Bloom's event will be in the fall. And then lastly, last night, myself, Vice Mayor Gaines, and the mayor were at the 133-year celebration of First Missionary Baptist. And I want to say that it was a really open-to-arm event. It was just lovely. Assistant Chief Loney was there from the Groveland Police Department. There were several local ministers there, both from Hope International, and Pastor Patty was there. And then Paul Schick, really a lot of the event was about Paul Schick, who put their new roof on them at no charge. And it was really nice that he and his company were able to do that for them when he had heard about them being in need for a new roof. So that's my report. I've emailed it to you, Jenny, so you should have it.
Thank you. Mr. Redzik?
And I'm going to have to leave after this. I got an issue at home.
Okay.
So went to retreat, second Friday. Mr. Mayor, I would like us to have either a quick workshop or an agenda item to expand on issues regarding communication, since we didn't really get the chance to talk about it at the retreat. And listening to Jen, we're pushing the message out, but I don't know if it's coming back. So can we maybe schedule it as a workshop before the next council meeting or as part of an agenda item?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, as you'll recall, every workshop, every week has a workshop, and we have some scheduling tightness. So I would not recommend before a council meeting, but you are working with my office on finding a date in June for a follow-up retreat, and that can easily be.
That's fine.
I speak to the facilitator tomorrow and can work that out.
Sooner the better, especially when it comes to communication. And the last thing that I would like to kind of remind the council is, if you're going to be at an event that there is another council member going to be there, it needs to be noticed through Ginny. Okay? That is a standing issue with regards to, if anyone else is going to be at a meeting. I happened to be at online on YouTube on Saturday, and there was someone else at the meeting. Luckily, the YouTube video I couldn't hear, so I ended up clicking off. But there would have been two of us at a meeting. So just kind of keep that in mind and keep us out of trouble.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Carroll?
So I had some meetings with staff. I went to the League of Cities luncheon, and today I went to the ribbon cutting at Boast Only Fitness, which is a CrossFit gym in Groveland. But also, I wanted to see if we can get a consensus to authorize Chief to have someone look into the allegations that there were crimes committed with Jasmine Owens, because these are all some pretty serious allegations, and I don't feel like those should just sit there.
Since it's an employee, would that be you?
Yeah,
that
who
would
does
be
that?
our city attorney, right? It wouldn't be their police department.
Yeah, how does that work?
It's an administrative determination. It's a personnel issue, so we can take under advisement what you've stated, but it ultimately, we have to look into it internally. Not to say it can't be
I'm
investigated
just wondering,
for
why
criminal.
would we have the PD look into it if we're talking about crimes? That's not a staffing issue.
No, I'm just saying we need
Okay.
to have an internal discussion about
Okay.
everything. I can't really speak to it
Gotcha.
in a public meeting.
Right, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
On either November 21st or 22nd or December 13th, South Lake County is having a Christmas cantata. And it is under the direction of Pastor Brian Broadway, who is the head of Find, Feed, and Restore, and playwright Sharon Keys out of Claremont. So there's going to be information coming out for participants, and they're also going to be looking for sponsors, but this is the first event of this type that is going to be held in South Lake County. On the 26th, I urge you all to please come out and give honor to our veterans. This event will start at 10 o'clock, and we owe it to the veterans because you see, for Memorial Day, because you see, without them, there would be no us. They fought, they gave their lives, their families supported them, and the least that we can come out and do is to give homage to them. On the 13th of June, we are having Juneteenth. While it is on the second Friday, the events will be catered to Juneteenth, and Juneteenth is not specifically for Black folks. It's for everyone to come together, network, get an enhanced understanding of my culture. I get an understanding of your culture, and then we do a kumbaya. Right now, not to repeat the other things that other people had, that is all that I have, Mayor.
Thank you. I just have a few things kind of addressed to the city manager, if I could. We have hurricane seasons coming up in a couple weeks. We have a plan to have a presentation on where we're at a meeting and an upcoming. Good. Also, the water bill increase is coming up in October, which is 5 months away. And we want to start letting everybody know early. What I need help with, and I don't know if anybody else needs help with it too, but I read through the on the biweeklies on what the billing is and how much we're getting, 120, 105, 80, the different percentages. Where are we? I'd like to understand in a presentation, where are we in that whole financial picture? Because we took the loan, we have to have 105. Do we need to take the extra 10% in October? I think it's a discussion that I can't intelligently talk about it because I don't deciphering that. I don't understand where we are because I know we started late. We may be getting 120% now, but there was months we didn't get anything, right? So if we could take a look at that. Also, by the next meeting, or are we going to have maybe that's for our retreats, the huddles, the neighborhood huddles? I still have a big question mark on the neighborhood huddles, where we stand with that. And with that, that's about all I have. Under that hurricane readiness report, last year I got quite a few. We were campaigning. Where in Groveland do we have a shelter in there? I think there was some. So that would be one question that we want to understand, where we send our people. With that said, let's go to staff. No report, and so a motion to adjourn. Thank you. Adjourn.